Hello, hello. Welcome everybody to the stream. We are excited to get this going. I am very happy to be joined this evening by the one and only Scott from Conversion. Welcome to the
Hey,
Caledonia
man.
Esports Summit.
I've been kind of excited about this one because I know you've been casting a lot of these, and obviously I'm checking in because we've got one of our own teams playing in it with two girls, one Gibby, and obviously we're going to be getting involved for some of the final stuff as well. And I think what's really amazing about this one, Ben, is we're seeing a lot of
Hello,
faces that I've never seen
motherfucker.
before, never casted over. We're seeing multiple platforms. We're seeing console. We're seeing PC, and it just seems like a real mashup of talent.
I completely agree with you on that. It's going to be an absolute ball to cast tonight. And I'm very happy that you're joining this particular stream. That is because
Best lobby.
it's the best lobby and it's going to be competitive as heck. That is the wrong one. We're going to go to analysis here. Reason I pulled up this is a lot of stats going on right here. This is the overall table, and on the left-hand side, you're going to be able to see who we have
Hello,
got in our
motherfucker.
lobby today. What you're going to very quickly notice is the amount of teams we have got in the top 10. There are 6 of them this evening.
Mm.
And it's going to make it extremely interesting. Looking at the top 10, the top 4 in particular, Peen, Gen X Manticore, Old Men of Nocturne, and Nappy Millicent. There's only about 40 points between them. It could be anyone.
Yeah, and you have to look at the fact that Nappy Militants, like it's BR, right? Like BR is the most difficult game to be consistent in, but to be walking away with 6 wins overall, they're obviously leading the pack in terms of their placement consistency. They've still got a good amount of kills as well. Maybe not quite as high as Peen there, but like I'm looking at the Old Men and Noctum as well. I mean, you've got Sentinel, Luxor, Charge Rifle. Like those are good players, man. Like these are people that I've seen before and have gone up against our main squad in Convergent before in scrims. So we've definitely got some really, really good players in this lobby, and I'm kind of excited to see how it unfolds. I'm not going to be biased and say, oh yeah, two girls, I'll give you, I've got this. I'm sure they can run it down. They ran it down a number of events ago where they were over 100 points, and the confidence that teams get when they're like kind of leading the pack like that, when you're in the hundreds in your overall kills or you're scoring up to 100 points across an event. I mean, that sort of like confidence boost can really carry into a follow-up event, but can they maintain it is the question, Ben.
Completely agree with you. One thing I do want to note,
Hello,
Nappy Militant,
motherfucker.
they've only been here for 3 weeks, and they've managed to get themselves up into 4th. They missed week number 1 and came in absolutely storming and have won 2 games per week they've played, which has been so consistent for them.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, you've got Peen at the top. They've got, I think it's something like 69, 70% of their points here coming from kills alone. This is a team
Yeah.
that will push you and are not afraid to fight.
The danger of that as well, though, Ben, is as we get closer and closer to that finals lobby, is people have earned their ticket to be there. They know how to fight. They know how to defend. Can you continue to be that aggressive against the lobby of finalists? I mean, it can be a double-edged sword. They might be able to do it, but other teams might seize that opportunity, go in for that third party, and knock them out when they're at their best.
Two final things I want to note here. FDR, you can see them. Wait, no, it's not. Sorry, not FDR. The team in 12th after FDR. Sorry, ZNE. They are currently in 12th place in the overall leaderboards. They were in 22nd last week. They came out, had an
Wow.
absolute ripper of a day. I think got a couple wins, about 80 points, and that 1 week alone has basically secured them a winners bracket. If you look over here on the right hand side, you can see that Gen X Orbital are currently in 19th place. They have got a little bit of a lead on 21st place, but we do have the Graffiti Gorillas, Warwick Warriors, and Anger Fraud pretty close in behind, looking for that 20th spot to make it into winners bracket. So it is all to play for at both ends of the table.
And it can be done, you know. I mean, even looking all the way down at the bottom, Boinky Bridge, it is feasible to have that one big night that may be enough to eject you up into contention, but they're going to need a little help if they're going to do it. But that's what I love about BR's, Ben. It can happen. It can happen where someone just gets that pool, gets the RNG, gets the loot, and just capitalizes on every single moment. And I tell you what, I go to my sort of analysis kind of brain, that coaching brain when I'm working with other people, and this is the meta to do it. This is probably one of the highest skill-based metas I've seen in a while. And okay, that reset functionality with Newcastle and Gibby, which seems to be the typical pairing right now, it's kind of overused. But with that exit of the gold knockdown, are we going to see that crutch just hindered just a little bit? But it's the most skillful meta I've seen. It's not cluttered with smoke. It's not cluttered with too many cat walls. It feels really balanced to me. And shotguns, don't get too close, because you land those shots, you're going down, and you're going down fast.
Well, as we're about to, I think we're going to start up this lobby and get everybody going. But whilst we do that, I do want to quickly pull up here the drop spots. We've got some interesting drop spots. We're going to World's Edge first, but I think the biggest change up that we are going to be seeing is that there is no gold knockdown shield, as we are aware, which means that that West Skyhook pick and Trials might be good. Is it still good? Is the question. I think that's really what I'm wanting to ask you. Is it still good?
I would say yes. I mean, the loot consistency, being able to walk away with gold loot and getting an Evo cash over a gold knock in those early moments of the game, that can be a real game changer. Because you're already looking at having someone walking away with a purple Evo, potentially, if you've gotten that Evo cash and you've had a scan or a bin or something that you can open. You could be walking away with a purple Evo. And if you get that vault key, you could even be getting your purple person up to red if you really wanted to. So it becomes a numbers game, Ben. I really don't think that it's been too significantly nerfed. It's just the nerf of that reset function, I think, where we're going to see that kind of impact.
Absolutely. We are going to have a quick look here and just have a look at the legend selection that we've got here. Is there anything that you can see standing out to you on the legend picks tonight?
Well, I think it's incredibly brave to be running a Caustic with the Angry Squad. But you know what? Caustic has been really devastating in the right hands. We've seen it. Obviously, I'm loving the fact that Graffiti Gorillas have already picked a Mirage. I think, again, brave, but as a Mirage kind of X-main, let's just say. But I'm loving FTR. They're going with the altar play. And sometimes just going off meta and doing the unexpected can be just what teams are not expecting. And you can come out on top.
Absolutely. So we are going to be pulling it now over to the in-game. As you can see, I think I just realised how loud the Apex is. Just slightly.
Shotgun bolt here.
And we're going to be looking at the map here. I mean, you can already see here, Trials, the Noctum, Old Men of Noctum have got a great position, and they've got a large amount of space here over at Skyhook. But it is actually going to be pulling over towards Gen X Manticore. This team who are currently sat in second place behind Peen and are really going to be looking to solidify this potentially good position in this pool.
Yeah, I actually think, given that this is a really central zone, it's possibly going to be playing more up into the Monument side, so we're going to see a lot of clustering up by Grandma's house with all the teams that are in Skyhook, the Fisher teams, Landslide teams. If they're not playing for space and playing for space early, they may actually be in a really tough spot. And there we see it. Yeah, someone's just pulled the beacon to get that information, and it is pulling up towards that Monument side. We'll see a lot of clustering over in Fragment, of course, with all the teams coming early. But the thing is, Ben, I don't have the experience of these lobbies like you do. I don't know how quickly people are going to be rotating or whether or not they're going to try and find space and play for the end game.
We are going to have a look here at the Gen X Manticore. This team has been pretty dominant powerhouse actually throughout the round. They've been consistently getting points, quite a few times actually pushing that 100-point mark, and it has put them in good standings going into this final day.
Optics here.
I think the choice of Wagwan Delilah being on Maggie, I mean, Maggie is such a brutal legend right now. There's obviously a lot of talk of the fact that it felt like she got a little bit of a nerf with the change to not being able to destroy Gibby's bubble, as an example. But the reality is that inability to destroy it just allows you to be more destructive with the drills. You just drill a bubble or a shield, and people panic because their natural response in this meta is to stay within the safety of the bubble or the shield. So a Maggie choice is a really, really good one.
I actually do want to note, last week, Nilla, currently playing on the Lifeline, and one that we are just going to move over to, was actually the damage kill leader for the lobby. Absolutely playing out the mind on the Lifeline. And it was really a sort of tag team duo between Delilah on the Maggie and Nilla on the Lifeline, who was picking up most of the kills and the damage.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'm just getting eyes on who they're walking up on. It's ZNE, and Faluvian is probably in As the Newcastle in this meta, and what I've been seeing in a lot of the higher end lobbies is you've got to be sending in your Newcastle last. If they can eliminate that reset capability with Newcastle, that reset on the go, I hate to say it, but I think ZNE could see themselves falter. So Newt and Alice need to find a way to get up there and start supporting so that Newcastle is not the entry fragger in this defense.
As we mentioned at the top of the program, the ZNE team had obviously a really great week last week, and they'll be looking to try and bring that momentum into this week in the hopes that they can potentially push up further into the standings and give themselves a slightly better draft pick. In the meantime, we are actually going to be having Yukon taking down Insectopedia, which is going to be actually a rather big fight here against the Alberti Alpacas.
They've got to be so careful as well, because not only that, you're going to have other teams with possibility of coming in. You've got the old men and Noctum now coming in with that triple take right now on charge rifle. The triple take getting an incredible buff, one that I'm a huge fan of, as it's my favorite marksman weapon. But they're coming in, they're just swooping up for those kills. They're playing, and they're playing strong and hard early into this game, which is exactly what they need to be doing.
Yukon managing to get themselves away. Obviously, with the Newcastle on the team, they are going to be able to get those banners back, as well as a respawn beacon as well, which is quite a lovely change. And it'd be great to actually get your opinion on these changes, as we are seeing Peen taking down people as well.
Yeah, the Warwick Warriors still fighting all the way over at launch site, probably not capitalizing on speed right now, and the ability for Pathfinder to just zip in and get your big guys like your Newcastle and your Gibbies into the fight early, it can be so devastating, particularly from a third-party perspective as well. But you said you wanted to ask some questions about the reset capability of this meta?
Absolutely, yeah. It would be great to actually get your thoughts on, do you like the fact that now everybody can craft? Do you like the fact that support legends obviously get that respawn beacon?
Right here.
Honestly, mate, I love it. I think that a lot of the time, particularly for people who were trying to develop into comp and learn comp, they would spend a lot of their time observing. And it can be really detrimental to people wanting to play competitively, even just from a community standpoint. I love this meta. I think it's the freshest it's been. I kind of took a bit of a season break, other than playing off meta. I think it's great, Ben. That reset capability and function, okay, you can argue that support is kind of OP right now, but you know what, who cares? It's making fights last longer, it's getting more people into endgame, and it's keeping Apex at its most enjoyable. But what are your thoughts?
I mean, I personally love it, and one of the reasons why I love it is because fights can take a little bit longer, that people have got the opportunity to outplay their opponent. What we're seeing at the moment here is ZNE using these abilities from the different legends who are currently probably classed as meta,
Hello,
to give you the
motherfucker.
lifeline and the catalyst, to try and hold down this center point inside of Monument, as we do have teams around, including FDR, who are flying in from the sky.
And we've actually got a big fight breaking out in zone at Tree as well. 2-minute Esports. Piku with the amazing grenades, actually just sent him flying. 2 girls, 1 Gibby are going to still be fully healthy in a 3v2 over at Tree. It's now a 3v1 and it's looking to be over. Is it going to be over? Nuke is still in the game, but hey, just trying to run away on the big man, running away on the Gibby. It's not looking too good, but we were just talking about that reset capability. Just get out of dodge, reset, and then get your team back into the fight.
This is, however, going to be Peen, who are up against 2 girls, 1 Gibby. This is not a team that 2 girls, 1 Gibby is going to want to be fighting. We've already spoken about how good they can be in a fight. Let's see how Peen can do. As Merc, the bubble warlord, as he's called himself, is taken down 2.
Yeah, that blocking of the door is just going to prolong the fight just a little bit, and you've got to be careful because, of course, if you've got 2 support legends, it's like having that gold knock from back in the day. The reset functionality is off the charts, even for a zone fight. But can 2 girls, 1 Gibby get away and reset? It looks as though they may be able to, but it's a brave decision from Peen to even pick this fight, because I really don't think they're going to be able to get away with that level of fighting within a finals lobby. Overconfidence could be their downfall, but equally, if they carry that confidence, Ben, it may just be the ticket to a victory.
What I do want to know is actually Peen got in a little bit late with the draft pick. They, unfortunately, it ended up on a pick that they were not so happy with. that was Stack. No, Big 40. You can see the distance that they have come because they want to fight on the edge. They want to pick up Evo edges that they can. We are seeing the old men of Nocturne just continue on.
I just seen it. Charge rifle got a beautiful hip fire, triple take, knock. It was beautiful, but a quick swap to the Nemesis, which is undoubtedly going to be the stronger option as we get closer into this end game. We're going to start closing into round 3, but Charge Rifle, the kill leader with 5 right now. That's a healthy start, Ben.
It is indeed. And one thing I do want to know, actually, is Gen X Manticore are going to be coming up out of zone from Climatizer and have got the chance to potentially bump into the old men of Nocturne.
I'm really quite like the kind of analyst and coaching head in me is saying, why are so many people still outside of zone? It's maybe not as detrimental, of course, with the reset capability and possibilities, but I just think people are spending way too long outside the zone and not capitalizing on a good position. And this is where we're seeing teams like Old Men and Optim bullying people. They're already weak. You're just having to do half the damage to get a good clean wipe on a team.
And this fight that I just mentioned, we are now seeing Gen X Manticore with some lovely shots there as Lisa does go down in the meantime.
A great bubble off the path set, but this is the patience. They're waiting for that, but there we have it. That Maggie drill, absolutely devastating, forces Old Men and Noctum off from the height. The sky nades are coming in, but the Maggie is down now, Ben.
Again, we spoke about it before, the Newcastle, the shots are good, but are they going to be saved in here? Hunt comes in and it's just down to Nilla, who is flying away on the lifeline.
You know, I actually think that Nilla could have done some additional damage there, but again, when you're up against those support legends, it probably was the wiser decision. Get a quick craft and get back into that fight sooner rather than later. But Wagwan Delilah, I don't know why I got Wagwan Drilla, clearly got Page on the brain from a convergence standpoint, but yeah, hadn't died, so only managed to get one of the banners in time. Not looking good for Gen X Manticore at this moment in time.
Absolutely not. And what also was a pain is slightly mistimed the craft there before the Maggie had actually bled out. And only managed to get one banner.
Unfortunate, but we're starting to see it now with the way that the zone's pulling, that it is going to be pulling into that sort of central monument area, which is a really great end zone as far as I'm concerned. We may see a strange counter pull to the cliffs, but I don't think enough of the cliffs are in for that. So it looks as though center of monument, teams are setting up. We're going to be setting up for a great end game.
Let's check out that way.
2-minute esports here, making their way up to the respawn beacon. They have spotted the team is there. I do think 2-minute
Respawn beacon
probably
over
going
there.
to be struggling right now as just a solo, and it's a big boy as well. Probably will be pushed out fairly soon.
For sure, for sure. I'm kind of rooting for Niller, who got out on that lifeline, the cool little glide. We've got a couple of rats roaming the map, roaming the premises, looking for some resets. Are we going to have a little bit of a rat off?
You might well.
Enemy spotted.
You mentioned Old Men of Nocturne. They were over by
Optics here. Mid-range.
east side of over towards Overlook. Now made their way into Fragment. They're going to have to make their way over the bridge into Modern. See where they just where beacon is. But they will take it. A little bit to the a little bit around potential. Might bump into those solo rats.
Totally agree with their rotate here. You may as well come into Monument from the height side. You've got the utility to be able to set up, get that Newcastle wall down when you're ready if you cannot get control of a building. Like, this is an experienced team. Perhaps they're going to be schooling some people. They're seeing this revive go off right now. It's a bit of a freebie for them right now.
Nilla.
It was Niller! Oh, no way!
Nilla managed to get the reset off. Bubble goes down. Actually, Nocturne has been taken out. We are seeing a Maggie drill come out. I'm assuming that is of Gen X Manticore.
Fair. Oh, wow. And to be doing that as a duo as well. That poor Mirage just stuck in no man's land. Sending out the decoy. That is just that final throw, your final gambit But you know what? Fair play as a duo to get to where they were, but found themselves really out of position there with no real cover. Very brave call. They should have just tried to lock down some space within Monument, to be honest.
I mean, on a note here, Genex they managed to get that res off. Yes, Dilla died, but Delilah is still here. There is a chance for the Manticore to potentially continue on. As I do want to actually look over here, the team.
Brothers, let's move this way.
Side of the map, and we are going to be seeing them pushing up into the building, and there is going to be a team.
Great shots there from the lifeline on Orbital as well. They're just going to swing out and use the other team's bubble. And that's the confidence of that initial entry damage. But kind of whipping with a Mastiff just now. But there you have it. A quick reset. You've got a lifeline. That was a really clean fight from Orbital.
And this is Orbital, whose team currently sat in 19th place. They're a team that needs to have a really good day to solidify themselves in winning bracket. Fight up against the #1 team in the lobby. Currently sat 6 kills as a team. They're going to be pretty happy with that start.
And that's the confidence you need right now, to be honest. But look at this. The teams are starting to cluster right now. Absolute freedom on the south side of the zone right now, where they may just get that freedom into the end game, because other teams are going to start fighting and skirmishing on the northern side of the zone as well. But Wagwan Delilah still roaming as that solo. Can we see a strange and almost glorious return from the Rat? It's unlikely, but again, anything can happen, Ben.
You can see Delilah here has to find that spot. We have got the Rat cam on right now, and a respawn beacon is able to be placed.
Fair. Fair. But
both banners back as well.
Incredible. You know what? Sometimes that's all it takes to just get a game, get some points, because we're getting closer and closer to a point where placement matters. Seeing an interesting team we haven't really talked much about right now, to be honest, Ben. It's the Blood Wolves. They're on the northern side of zone, but they've got their Gibby up to that red Evo right now. They've got the reset capability. They may be able to do something with the position here, but they have to act now. 45 seconds until this zone starts to close, and they have to try and capitalize and get the reset now. They've got about 20 seconds to fight a team if they're going to try and play for some kills, or they're just going to have to hope that they can make something of what little space will remain on the north.
And I got that through the window, but the into the zone here take a little bit more time to make their way out. It'll be interesting to see how they play this. They have got the capacity to be a huge opponent to their rotation.
Come on, get to this spot.
Sure.
You're going to watch Caspis POV, I think. I want to see if they do use a wall.
I love the fact that no one's really had a chance to get to that mythic pin as well, bang in the middle of the map. And Nappy Militants right now are locking down as a duo, but we're seeing so much action on the north end that I'm just going to hand it over to you for the time being. Break it down for me, buddy.
Bubbles, they're making their rotate in. Caspis wall hasn't come out, but it's a great fail actually to make their way over to the other side of the building. There is a team inside. Now Blood Wolves are going to make their way up onto the stage. Happy Millicents, as you mentioned, inside of the building, they're going to be very happy with their position.
I'm so impressed by FDR right now. Their Newcastle just sent it and somehow came out on top, Ben. They're somehow still surviving despite everything that's going on. It is absolute chaos in the middle of Monument. What a great first zone pull for the first game of tonight.
And a great shot here for Nappy Millicents as a duo. Unfortunately, almost managing to take out Genex Orbital here. As we mentioned already, Genex Orbital had quite a game, currently with 9 kills, potentially a couple more. 11 kills even. My lord, that was a great push, and there is a fight going on the other side. FDR are going to go down to the old men of Melbourne.
I think FDR just made the mistake of being too split there, to be honest. They weren't focusing their fire. They were all in individual fights, whereas the old men of Nocta managed to focus their fire, which is the huge, huge difference maker in this endgame.
And then Nocta, I believe that is ZNE, but see these two teams landed here in this spot. They have not left. They've managed to get themselves purple shields nonetheless. Are we going to be able to see ZNE manage to take down the Omen of Nocturne, who are obviously on a real great run of form in this game?
I love an underdog story, Ben. We've got the Angry Squad still rocking blue evils, but their caustic is ready and in waiting. Are we going to see some caustic gas come down and start to wreak havoc in this end game?
ZNE, one has fallen. Alice did go down. Reset for now.
Contact with target.
And move over to the other side of the map. Where are they? My buttons have stopped deciding that they want to work. The Genix Orbital we're going to look at here. They are underneath the building. They're obviously going to have the team above them.
Enemy over there.
Dropping onto their head.
This way, let's go.
The great thing is with Orbital here, they just need to play slow, play wide, let the other teams fight, let them chip at each other. You may even get an isolated 3v3 against the Old Men and Nocturne, but no, they've been swung on from behind, Ben. This was the last thing that they needed. King Terry goes down, Kenzie's looking low. Sprite, that final stand with the Newcastle coming in clutch right now. Kenzie somehow still managing to play the life on path, but dies to it. This is crazy, Ben, and this is what I love about this meta. It's anyone's game.
It is indeed, and this is actually a bit of a Gen X battle between them, the Manticore versus Orbital. And it's damaging both of them, but Manticore have managed to reset, showing their presence.
Right here.
Now, if you want to know, this is Manticore, the team which went down to one player twice. They are now in the dominant position to potentially win this fight. There's a massive game
Incredible.
out there of Obler and Newcastle.
What is Niller smoking? That was some beam with it. R99. I want whatever porridge Niller is having. Just, like you said, Ben, this is crazy. The reset capability, and they're still going.
The last player, Newcastle. One goes down. The first player coming out.
Not yet.
Manticore, your winners of game number 1. What an end game that was.
Unbelievable. And you know what? That is sometimes the thing that people do wrong, Ben. When they're out of ammo, they forget they've got their fists in that end game. That's exactly what happened to knock that Newcastle out the zone. Let the zone do the damage for you, and you can still walk away with it. What an unbelievable bounce back from Niller and the team there. That was utterly insane, and a well-deserved victory from that one. Insane.
I actually can't believe that. What a game number 1 that was. You saw there why Manticore are a team that is currently second place. With that performance, have got the potential to push themselves up into first place.
Yeah.
I say that. Orbital, I just want to say, we're going to be obviously getting this. I'll get the scores up in a second. A little bit worried that the progress bug.
It doesn't look good, but it could just be going slow because of the console users. But, I mean, breaking down that game, Ben. Manticore, an unbelievable come-from-behind victory. Orbital and Old Men and Nocturne were absolutely farming that game, showing their presence really early into the fights, really early into the game, building up those kills. And those are statement games. To be in double digits at all in BR is massive. It's the sort of leap that you need to break away from the middle of the pack. And those three teams, Manticore, Orbital, and Old Men and Nocturne, what a statement. What a statement game. And you may have Peen as the sort of leader going into tonight, but if those are the kind of performances we're seeing from other teams, Peen have got to have their backs up right now. Like, hey, we still want to be going into the finals in first place, but we've got to up our game, you know? And some of the duos were doing well. Nappy Militants, 3 kills as a duo. Fair play to them.
I'm going to quickly jump over to the scoreboard. We're going to be able to see here what we are looking like here. I'm going to let you speak through this as we're just going to sort out the in-progress bug in the background.
No.
Is it right if we potentially use a conversion code?
Crack on, man. Crack on. That's why they're there, to help provide for the community. But nonetheless, let's look at that. Genix Orbital with 25 points and 16 kills going into that one. Might not have even won the game, but they're still leading the pack after a 16-kill game. Unbelievable. Obviously leaning into that meta somewhat, but with the lifeline and the sort of drone reset capability, so really, really strong performance. A lot of teams right now rocking that Gibby Newcastle combination. I'm loving the fact that we're seeing people playing as either duos. FDR were playing the Altar, which a great pick if you really want to do those sort of surprise plays. Get behind a Newcastle in their wall, pending how they're positioned. I'm hoping we see some of those really creative plays as well. But it's also great, Ben, because I'm seeing things like Rampart, and you got the Warwick Warriors down at the bottom there rocking the Bloodhound. Obviously leaning in their more comfort legends, and I respect it because if you're playing what you're comfortable on, there's nothing stopping you from still taking down a sweaty team fully leaning into that sort of reset meta. So really, really exciting start to the board. The top three are definitely starting to break away in that sort of 20-point region and above. And it's still everything to play for from fourth place down, with fourth place only having those 8 points. It can change, and it can change in a heartbeat. Any game whatsoever, you can see teams bounce back. And I've got to say it, Ben, we had a mirage, man. We had a mirage, and I'm a huge fan of Mirage. It's just a shame they were in the open. Just a shame they were in the open. So yeah, really good start to the board there.
I mean, I was especially impressed with, as we already mentioned, the duos out there. But I do want to actually just give that massive shout out to Genet Orbital. 25 points, 16 kills. It's a really great performance from them.
Mm.
Particularly as they are a team that have yet to really take off in the tournament so far. And it's great to see them doing well. Likewise, ZNE doing well, and Peen, even though they went out pretty early there, still managing to stay in the mix in fifth place. They did get their 5 kills and really continuing that classic trend where placement is really nothing for them. They want to just go for fight.
For sure. And I guess my only words of advice would be to some of these teams is to try and limit a lot of the zone fighting at this moment in time, trying to pick people off on the edge. Like, a lot of people misinterpret edge gameplay as being outside of a zone, when the reality is you're always going to be stronger when you're inside the zone, but bullying teams further out, you know? And that can also be like the difference between a good rotate and a bad one, because the more you fight in the zone, the more you're going to be bullying yourself. You're eating through your resources, you're eating through your own reset capability. But I have to say, the absolute star of the show for me in that instance was Niller. Making that decision when they were fighting at Epi to just glide out, realised they were in trouble up against the old men, knocked him, got out, reset with just one of the respawn beacons, and they managed to get a full reset. And if that's what this team can do when they're on the back foot, Ben, what are they going to be like when they're fully confident, they're fully strong, and they get a little bit of help from an RNG? If they're rocking those purple evos sort of mid-game, I can guarantee that Manticore are going to be the ones like kind of opening those fights and going for the points early.
100%. I think it was a really great performance, one that was thoroughly enjoyable to watch. We are looking like we are almost all in. A second.
Sounds good.
All the settings. We have got anonymous mode on. I was unsure whether we'd
It's always easier for us as observers. We get everyone's name, and you know what? I'm really quite impressed, because when you see these kind of mixed lobbies, and we've got to remember we're doing the ALGS drop style like mode, and that really almost amps up that RNG difficulty, where you're really limited. You can't spread yourself like, oh, I'm Sky West and Trials, or I'm getting Mirage and Fisher. Like, a lot of those like kind of dual combinations that you see throughout Challenger circuit, ALGS, BLGS. It's so different when you're forced to these ALGS style drops. So I think teams have adapted really, really well to this style of play, and we're seeing some people really, really shine.
Amazing. So we are going to be going now into this second game. Looks like we've now got everybody ready to go, and we are going to be launching. I'm just going to quickly also double check. I've had a few reports that my mic is quite quiet in streams. I'm going to quickly double check that.
Sounds more than fair. You're the star of this stream and the star of this show, Ben. Your mic has got to be up there. But really, really excited, because we've got every team at full capacity right now, Ben. Everyone's rocking as a trio. I'm sure, unless there's any disconnects, of course, I may have just cast or cursed it. But I'm hoping that we see a lot of those duos really come out and shine, because Nappy Militants, to do what they did as a duo before and get to that end game, it's not an easy meta to do it when you've got so many big men running about with shotguns and bubble fighting you. I'm hoping we see a little bit of teeth showing from them as we break into game number 2.
Amazing. So I am a little bit quiet, actually. I don't know why that is. Actually, wait a minute. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to quickly check this over. As we are going to be looking here at the legend selection screen. Anything standing out to you in this game?
I think people are still leaning into their sort of comfort picks. We've got 2 caustics in the lobby now. We've still got people rocking Maggie. I think the trouble is a lot of people see success from some teams and then they just start to lean into it as well. And if you're going to lean into it, you may as well go with that Gibby and Newcastle combination right now. It's so heavily played right now across Pro League teams and scrims. I can't blame people for doing it as well, because that reset capability is just utterly, utterly devastating.
100%. I think I've managed to fix myself. I think I should be a little bit louder now.
You're much better.
Much better. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. So,
your chat should have heard you how you were when we first came in to do our sound check. It's like you were whispering in the cupboard. I thought it was going to be casting with Harry Potter. So it's great to have you back at full capacity, Ben.
all right, cool. So we're going to be jumping back over to the game here, and we're going to be seeing the zone pop up in just a sec.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this one goes, because I love the fact that we got a monument one. Oh, well, that's 100% going to be pulling down towards Thermal. We're probably going to see 2 girls, 1 Gibby in a really great position right now, just purely based on where that zone's looking to pull. You sometimes get a counter pull to the northern side of Thermal here, but the likelihood, I don't know if you're looking at the next zone ring as well. I try not to, because I take great pride in in trying to ring guessing, like keep my knowledge up to speed. But I think 2 girls, 1 Gibby are going to be in a fantastic position if they can loot fast. If they can get that loot, get those cheap weapons, they could make a real statement by holding down the back of Thermal. But equally, with so many teams clustered towards the northern side, I'm curious how that rotates going to be from that sort of northeastern side where Fragment and Co are going to be coming. But it looks as though Fragment and Co are going to start to break out in a fight.
What I find really interesting is Genix Manticore. They played it a little bit more passively in game number 1, and it was ZNE who were able to take the top of that building in Monument. This time, Manticore have picked up the first guns they've been able to find, and have pushed across and have taken that spot from them, and are now trying to look to get a little bit aggressive up onto ZNE here.
Great walk up with a Newcastle shield there. ZNE just left to just defend and hope for the best there. They're already starting to scramble around and really kind of bottleneck them into this area within the monument area. That little peek in the window is devastating. Newt is going to go down if they're not careful. But yeah, this is a really coordinated push there from Manticore. Really coordinated.
Newt has indeed gone down. And it is now just down to 1 player. Delilah manages to get the crack, and it's just down to Nilla here. Can Nilla kill this Newcastle, get revenge? ZNE actually managing to do pretty damn well, considering it was just a solo
it
there.
was closer than they probably wanted, to be brutally honest. So yeah, fair play. But Manticore back up on their foot. But they've got to be careful. We're going to start to see those teams from the northern side start to push down now as well.
Graffiti Gorillas actually landing right next to the Alberty Alpacas to do a little bit of a jump power rotate. But luckily for the Graffiti Gorillas, the Alberty Alpacas have managed to decided not to shoot at them or start a fight, as I think they're all trying to prioritize a little bit of a rotate towards zone.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a smart thing to do when you're playing in lobbies like this. When something as large as getting into a finals lobby where there's going to be prizes and whatnot, like sometimes it just makes sense to focus on your rotate. Like get yourself into a good position to be able to play from. Too many teams, and it's always the teams, Ben. And I know it sounds like a sweeping generalization when I say this, but far too many teams just focus too much on just fights that you really don't need to, and they lose their position as a result. But we've got Sonya in the kill feed right now from 2 girls on Gibby. Piku
and Piku as well. And that is going to be up against Angerfreud, a team which, what we're needing a good day today, currently sat in around about 26th place. But they need to have a good day in order to try and make it into winner's bracket. Not a great start for them, but 2 girls, 1 Gibby are not going to be complaining as a team gift wraps themselves and lands on their head.
For sure. One thing I've really liked about the development of Two Girls, One Gibby, and it's kind of easy for me to say this because it's a convergent team, but Misa was playing with these Syntax ladies, of course, the first ever full women's team to make it to an Apex LAN, and she's been such a good complement for the Two Girls, One Gibby squad. They can speak in their native Finnish together, whilst Kisa is out of commission right now. And Misa's such a great support player, and seeing her play Pathfinder is also just really exciting, where I've been so used to seeing her play that support piece, but we're seeing Misa's aggression and her ability to bully teams right now as she sprays down with that Spitfire into the tunnel.
We are going to be looking over here at the most aggressive team in this lobby, and that is going to be Peen. They have been trying to hunt somebody for a hot minute right now across the map. And just one thing I just do want to note about the Two Girls One Gibby. You said that they're speaking in the same language, or is that right?
They could be speaking in their native Finnish tongue, yeah, because Misa is also from Finland, so they've got the comfort, and their comms when they do that tend to be a lot quicker, and look at that, Sonya, expert Gibby, puts the bubble down to be able to get the finish. This is just utter devastation, the confidence that they're playing with right now, but Piku's got to be careful. Getting all those kills is great, but like I said in the last game, any Newcastle that tries to go in first is making a mistake. If you're up against a big team, a good team, if Newcastle goes down first, that can be really devastating to your game.
So what you could basically say is, with them speaking in their natural tongue, not only are they finishing each other's kills, they're also finishing each other's sentences.
100%, man, 100%. Great one. Yeah, Gen X Orbital just dropped on them as well. This is a brave drop from them. It looks as though Ken's is going to try and back up right now. They've recognized that, hey, these guys have some purples already. We've got to play this a bit more coordinated. Great decision. Orbital are cutting out and just reset. You never want to fight in too open a space for too long unless you're mopping up as that third party. Great decision to just prolong their game.
As slightly confused, every frazzle, which team is this one? Sorry, there is a team that has joined. They've just put their name as High.
Oh, we've just got a guest team, as it may be. Okay.
I think that
Hello, High.
I think they might well have swapped their team name, and I'm
just confused who they are. Switch Code, Angry Basil, and Royston. Well,
I
to those guys.
hello to those guys. That is a little bit of a pain, but that's okay. Hopefully it won't affect the overstat scoring too much with the change of name.
100%. It's a bit messy when it's done. I don't think people often recognize the fact that that is also going to mess around with the drop slots. So we'll try and fix that into game number 3. But what's surprising, Ben, 13 squads remain going into zone 2 to 3. A lot of teams are obviously playing aggressive because they know every kill counts right now. If you have an opportunity to just bully someone who makes a mistake, why not do it? We've got some good shots coming down from the Graffiti Gorillas, though, over at Tree.
Absolutely, Graffiti Gorillas right now. Again, another team on the Maggie, and you're seeing actually quite a lot of that in this lobby here. Teams that are wanting to get a little bit aggressive, particularly up against the shield method that has come into place with the Newcastle and Gibby becoming so popular.
Yeah, and the fact that drill can hit the Newcastle wall even when it's energized, it is just such a game changer for a Maggie team, because the traditional response is they just hunker down and hide behind that shield, and Maggie can just be utterly devastating. However, she's not an easy legend to use. Great legend to use in respects to some of the perks, of course. Reloading the shotgun, the quicker movement speed on shotgun. Maggie is just kind of slept on, dare I say.
I completely agree with you on that, and I think particularly a team that is confident in fighting can use a Maggie really well. I'd like to see Peen go onto the Maggie, because President Garbanzo has been an absolute demon when it comes to the Maggie in previous weeks. I don't know if currently, let's have a quick check. No, currently at the moment President Garbanzo is playing on the Lifeline instead of the Maggie. Maybe it might come out later if the games don't go so well, but it'll be interesting to see. And I do mention Peen because they are actually going to be pushing up onto this fight here. The Graffiti Gorillas are almost going to be becoming a bit of a sandwich, a Graffiti Gorilla sandwich between Peen and Orbital, I believe.
Yeah, and we've got the old men in Noctum fighting 2 girls, 1 Gibby in Landslide. What on earth the guys are doing all the way in Landslide other than just trying to mop up on kills, I do not know. But Piku manages to get the kill onto Nero as well, the third party from the old men and Optim, just helping finalize those kills for the girls on Gibby. But bizarre that they're even all the way over in landslide. But again, that is just the confidence of when you know you can run down a lobby.
100%, and we are seeing actually Gen X Orbital in a bit of a tough time here. They've actually ended up becoming the sandwich, as it were.
Yeah, there's so many teams in this area
This is
right
actual
now.
insanity. High do get eliminated, as we are seeing Kenzie taken out here for Orbital. King Terry, the Terrible, is trying to run away. The Lifeline drone manages to keep Terry alive.
And Pina in this fight as well. This side of tree, I wouldn't have expected this area to be so heavily congested, but I guess that is just a sign of people who are newer to comp. A lot of people just try and play that edge and slow rotate, hoping to find space, but people are just being utterly bullied in this area right now, Ben.
We are seeing here Peen, surprisingly, even though there was a lot of fighting there, not managing to get involved with any of those kills, only managing to do about 200 damage each, but they are very close here to triple purple, which would be really useful going into this round number 3.
And all that congestion has just moved to a different location. We're going to have the old men in Optim right now, about to face off against the Nappy Militants, who do have Miramins, I think I'm getting that one right, on the red Evo already.
Lovely shot.
Really
Lutcher there with a huge 100 spray there to manage to crack the shield of the enemy news vessel.
Maggie Ball devastating with the stun there. I love Maggie, man. She's really, really good fun to play. But I just have to confess, I'm not good with her.
I am completely on board with that. It's probably because I'm absolutely dreadful with shotgun.
I have to admit, it's been a tough adjustment to this meta. Do not give me a PK unless you want me to hit the best 9s in the lobby, my friend.
What I do want to note is there actually was a team that landed in. I did see flying in from an evac tower. I don't know whether they landed in behind the Nazi militants or they're going to be making their way further into the zone.
It was actually 2 girls, 1 Gibby. They got a reset and harvester and they've flown into the sort of train track building area right now. They're not in zone and they've really kind of nerfed their own game by playing out as wide as they did with a negative rotate. But we've also got a big fight breaking out in the south with the Graffiti Gorillas in Manticore right now, Ben. They're locking down that building that is also outside the zone, southeast of Thermal.
You said the Graffiti Gorillas basically just gifting kills. The way that they all just slid off and just gave them, and you had to say this is a bit of a questionable play there, using a zipline in front of a team with that quality.
Yeah, and we're seeing it. Manticore are at full strength. This one, Niller is on red Evo. We've got the others already getting close to building up their Evos as well. A couple more kills, and they could be full red going into the end game right now. And we've seen what they could do on the back foot. They're absolutely farming right now.
We are going to be seeing Peen going up the evac tower, and they're going to be rotating into zone. It's going to be interesting to see where they're going to land. They're looking for that building. They're actually going to be, I think, they're going to be pleasantly surprised here. They don't know that it's going to be pulling this way. If they're able to find themselves a spot, they could be in a great place. Good use here of the lifeline.
Enemy over there.
Oh, and it is already pulling down to that southwest side, as we said at the beginning of the game. A lot of these teams in Thermal are really, really going to thin out. And who's going to be getting an absolute freebie? Probably the Warwick Warriors, if they can hold off this push from Peen. But Peen already on the purple Evo. I think they're just going to full send this one, to be honest, Ben.
You've already seen here, they took a load of damage. What do? Take a load of damage and they put a zipline onto the opposition's head. They know that as soon as they're healing up, as soon as one of them gets cracked, they are pushing. And we are seeing the president, Alfonso himself, taking a huge amount of damage from that Gibby ult, but has managed to reset his Gibby down, Orbital down. The Graffiti Gorillas, can they hold off is the question.
They tried to revive. We've got a late bubble fight, but I just think Peen are just way too healthy right now. They've got that reset capability. Peen right now are in the strongest position to win this game, having cleared out the Warwick Warriors.
They are indeed, and you have to say a really great push. They landed in a difficult position with teams shooting them from both sides, using that lifeline ultimate to be able to restabilize, Pathfinder ziplining onto the height, taking that fight to the Graffiti Gorillas, who just were not prepared for the aggression that Peen showed.
Yeah, and look at this one, Ben. FDR. They've got 2 red evils, and they haven't done an awful lot of damage. They've done a little bit of farming. They're actually pretty well equipped to be able to do something against Peen, but not if your Newcastle's going to roam on their own. If Newcastle goes down here, it's going to be over for FDR, but they managed to get out. Peen are just going to keep pressing the advantage right now.
Gibby ult has gone out. Drop here has meant that the Gibby bubble has to be thrown down here by FDR. FDR, because they've got the Catalyst, are going to be able to lock down this building in a pretty good way, which is going to potentially stop that Peen push.
The weakest area right now is that back door. You've got the back of the wall. They've got a cat door that is up, but you know what? Peen are going to be able to just start to bully. They're going to try and get that angle in the window. And oh, great nade to knock them off the height right now, but don't overextend, Newcastle. And this is it. Peen moving back, Ben. Really, really great defense from FDR.
Great defense, and I think the right move from Peen, although a team has come and taken their spot, as we do see the Blood Wolves go down.
And who's peeking away on that eastern side? It is none other than Manticore. They've got absolutely free shots right now, but they're not in zone. Manticore are just going to wait and sit this one out. They've got an initial knock. They're moving in now to try and get that space from them. If Manticore can clean this up, it's now going to be Manticore in the best possible spot.
It is, but we are seeing the Warwick Warriors against Peen. That was that team that pushed up into the building. We are seeing the Warwick Warriors go down. A really great push once again from Peen, using the ultimates and the abilities in such a great way to order to reset, hold off pushes from other teams. And Nappy Militants also do go down. We are down to our final 4 squads.
And again, this is the excitement, Ben, of teams that don't necessarily play higher end comp, because we could have easily seen a good 10 squads starting to thin out about now when the zone starts coming in. People were fighting for that space early, and other teams just weren't capitalizing on that necessary chaos to like third party and take the space. We're seeing a lot of isolated fights right now, 3v3s with the occasional third party. But it's really interesting. I love casting over games like this because it just shows the joy and the accessibility of competitive Apex to just your more standard player or your more casual community player over just hard competitive.
The next Manticore currently sat on top of this building. It's going to be such a difficult rotate for Peen. I want to watch their POV because they're going to... Are they going to be able to stay in zone inside of this building? I don't actually know. Actually, they are going to be able to take that rock where Nilasso is, I think.
I mean, I think the reality with this one, Peen need to just move forward and start to play on the rock formation, like you say. They can bully this team coming in. They've got the cat wall down. It's absolute free shots on this side where the shipment containers are. If Peen can take that spot from that team, they then just wait, they hold, and the teams in the building fight, and Peen probably take the victory in this one.
They do indeed. FDR are going to actually have a massive part to play in this final fight here. They are just a duo. But depending on how they play this, it's going to potentially give the game to Peen or to Manticore.
And interestingly, Manticore recognized the fact that the building is probably a weak spot right now. They're moving out to the shipment container side with a Kraber. What a great shot there from Niller. Apex right now, the current kill leader, 7 KP with 3 squads remaining. I'm loving the fact that Manticore have set up in this location. They've got that Newcastle wall. It's going down. They're trying to lock down some space for the end game. I think Manticore could actually squeeze Peen out of those rocks, and then the duo start fighting and picking away at the sides. Great play.
No one likes the Peen being squeezed, and I think that Merc & Co is really going to be having an issue with that if that is the case. As we are seeing actually a respawn coming out of FDR.
Amazing. I don't think anyone's really going to push off of this because the zone's already closing. They can see that it's already happening. I think they're just going to let it happen. Look at this. Manticore are setting up with the additional the additional Evo shields behind that wall. They're in such a good spot. They're holding the space. I really do think Manticore take it just based on how they've set up for this endgame. Great play.
I think, as you mentioned, such an important push actually from Manticore, recognizing that they need to leave that zone and that building to actually go take the space. It's put Peen in such a difficult position here. But it's really relying
Yeah.
on an FDR push Peen here. Really hoping that FDR are going to be able to
Go here.
push, cause a bit of an issue.
The
But
enemy's on me.
FDR are actually going to be able to stay here for a little bit longer. Did you
FDR did put their Gibby ult down, and it was a great ult, but just too early. They had to wait until the back of the zone by the shipment containers was no longer playable. They had to wait for this moment where the other team moved in. If they Gibby ulted now, 10 seconds later, 20 seconds later, they potentially sway the game in their favor. And this is what's great about Apex. The utility can just tip the favor and tip the scales in the favor of another team. Ben, I'm going to let you close this one out, because this is going to be an exciting endgame.
Elasso here on Peen. Peen actually with a great use of the Lifeline ultimate are now going to potentially be getting put up in a 3v3 versus FDR. That catapult closing off one side of the zone, basically just putting it in a straight 3v3. Elasso with a Pathfinder grapple goes in with the Eva Ray. With a huge amount of damage. There's just one player left. President Garbonzo. Self-resing Merc is alive, Peen go out, and Manticore have just got the easiest clean up there. As FDR really playing for second by cutting off that zone, and I think, as we mentioned, Manticore put themselves in the best position and just utilised that to get the W.
Couldn't agree more. If that Gibby ult had just come down 20 seconds later, that probably forces the others into a sort of bunker down situation. Niller with an excellent lifeline ult to just create that safety net. They played off the Catalyst wall, created a safety net on one side, and then waited for the swing from the others, because both other teams were not going to be in a situation where they aren't going to swing through a cat wall and blind themselves. It just forced that fight, and I cannot stress enough that Manticore played that to perfection. FDR used their utility too early. A little bit of patience can go such a long way, where Peen just forced to fight them, and Manticore mop up and just absolutely dominated that game as well.
It was a great fight, and I think it was Manticore there. I think just playing smart, I think, is the best way to describe it. They didn't play hyper aggressive. They could have tried to push in and take out the duo of FDR. They didn't. They recognised where the best spot zone was. They do manage to clean up. As
For sure.
just double checking, where is Team High? Team 17.
Team High, they were in High, Team
High.
17. But whilst you're sorting what you need to sort out, Ben, let's just give a little shout out to some of the other teams in that lobby. We had the Nappy Militants with 9 KP in 5th place. We also had 2 Girls 1 Gibby with 8 kills, and Gen X Orbital with 5 kills in 10th and 11th respectively. 2 Girls 1 Gibby were clearly kind of shaking from a first game where they're like, we should have done better, that they decided to just go on that really wide rotate and get some kills, and fair play to them, because that's really going to jump them up that board given how clustered it was from 4th place down. But now we're at a point where Manticore are absolutely flying out in front, and they've got to be feeling good. World's Edge is clearly a comfort play for them. Considering where they're dropping and starting, I'm quite impressed as well. But Manticore, I have to say, as a team that I've never heard of before, they are absolutely impressing me right now, because they're playing a mixture of patience, aggression, great utility usage. This is a team that I can tell has played Challenger Circuit, ALGS, potentially BLGS as well, because it's starting to show where maybe some of the lesser experienced competitive players, where they're just sending it and trying to get kills and hoping that that's enough. Manticore are categorically the S-class team that I've seen from these first 2 games. And I'm sure that if any of them are watching in the downtime, Ben, that is going to motivate some teams. That's going to be like, no, we're the S-class team. We want to be the ones up there. But I'm seeing a masterclass from Manticore right now, especially Niller. I think Niller is playing Lifeline so well, considering Lifeline's not the natural part of the main meta right now. Niller is absolutely shining for me.
We're having some slight issues with the overstats. We're just going to have a quick look here at the game results. And we are seeing Manticore with a 17 kill dub, an absolute massive result for them. 29 points for Manticore. And after already a great start for them, I believe it was getting 19 points in the first game. They're going to be looking good up there with about 38 points. 48 points. I'm not very good at maths.
Can you imagine if this was a match point game? They'd be feeling so good right now. going into game 3, just knowing, hey, we're 2 points away from match point right now. That they've had such a great night, considering it nearly went horribly wrong in the first game. To have gone with back-to-back wins, and I've seen it when I've been casting where I've seen teams go back-to-back, 4 wins on the trot. Quite honestly, I really do think that Manticore could do it again. However, there are some teams out there that have shown that they can get the kills. You've got your old men in Noctum. You've got the Orbital team. You've got Two Girls, One Gibby, and Nappy Militants who are actually making statements with getting enough kills. That, quite honestly, there are people that I do think could easily ruin Manticore's day by matching a lot of their sort of utility usage. But I'm seeing an absolute masterclass from those guys, and I'm really quite impressed.
100%. I'm excited now going into this game number 3, our final game on World's Edge. It's going to be interesting to see actually who's going to be able to stand out. As we've already mentioned, FDR coming in second place there with 0 kills. They'll be very happy with their placement. Are they going to be able to potentially turn that momentum of a second place into a few kills on the board? What I also find fascinating is FDR got second place. They put that cat wall down. They cut off the zone. They took the fight to Peen and didn't get a single one of those kills.
I think it's just based on the initiation.
Yeah.
Had they actually been the ones to swing first and get that initial damage, it may have been a different story. But the fact that they just kind of bunkered down and hoped that the other teams would fight, had they, with the cat wall, just stepped the cat more out to the left and then cross diagonal so that the wall cut the other teams off, and then they played the safe side of the wall, it could have been a completely different story. So it's probably just more about confidence of the placement of that utility. You could have easily forced those 2 teams to fight and then be the third party, but by blocking one of the teams and giving them a safe zone, they forced their own demise in some respects. But this is a team that FDR, they defended that building really well. We did see that. They can play a good defensive game. You can tell that they're probably a more zonal style team. But really, they've got to be able to learn how to turn that aggression round and make it so that it's their victory, not another team's.
Then we are going to be going back into the lobby. I want to go look. I'm going to move straight away over onto Genix Manticore. And we're going to see whether they're going to do that aggressive push up onto ZNE again, or whether they're going to play a little bit more passive. Well.
I think they will, and to be honest, ZNE have probably dropped quite split. They were kind of assaulted really early, where what they should have been doing in that sort of downtime when they were observed and forced to see the winners of the last game take it, they should have been thinking, right, we've got to cluster up, we've got to loot, and we've got to take the fight to them first. If they could get the initial knock onto Manticore, there's nothing to say that ZNE couldn't be the ones walking away out of this POI with the Blue Evils ready for a big endgame.
Continuing to have issues here with the wonderful Overstat. The lobby's not quite updated correctly. Hopefully we will get that loaded up, but in the meantime we are going to be having that fight that we mentioned. Manticore pushing that glider, just taking a slight off angle here on the Maggie.
And they've done a great job. The amount of nades that they stacked ready for this fight, ZNE have just been utterly steamrolled, to be honest. Utterly steamrolled.
There was a kill eat, and it was the use of all the abilities. You got the Maggie drill, Gibby bubble, and a little bit of...
a bit of toxicity. I love to see it.
Wow.
Do these guys know each other? Because, damn, it's like, hey, we own this area.
We own this area now, and my gosh, Genix Manticore taking it there to ZNE, and we are going to be having a fight, which I want to say, the south of the map right now is going to be a bit of a battleground. We've got the Warwick Warriors with a Bloodhound being used, facing up against the Blood Pool. In the meantime, Peen are going to be pushing up onto the team that landed at the Lava City.
If this was any other lobby, if this was the LGS, like round 3 onwards, these teams would be getting berated in a cast because there's just absolutely no reason to have this area so congested. It appears as though everyone's just decided to try and go for all the evil and the bins at the back of the map. There's just no need to be fighting outside a zone like this. You may as well rotate in, get your Evo on the go, and actually get a good spot. They're kind of throwing their own games, and if they lose out on this one, Ben, it's kind of, they brought it on themselves.
We are now seeing Peen taking down 2 of the 2-minute esports team. That is FloJo on Twitch, who has gone down. Has been crafted straight away by Nero, and they are going to be looking to get away, as we are actually seeing 2-minute esports only Crypto with Lobby. Obviously, Crypto,
I love the choice. He's not as OP as he was, like, say, last season. Like, going invis and having the drone survive zone was so OP. And I say that as someone who typically played a lot of off meta. Until Crypto entered the meta, I played him a lot, and it was just so OP. But I love the fact that they're playing him, because he can be still quite devastating if you're aggressive, Ben. You've got to be aggressive to play off the EMP, because the reset capability, if you're up against support legends, one cell and you've already recovered from a Crypto.
one thing I do want to note here, I'm just looking at Peen's POV, Nilasso on the Pathfinder, and really to fully demonstrate what type of playstyle Peen are doing. The upgrade that he's done for his level 1 shield hasn't been for the ring beacon, it's been for the people beacon. He wants to know exactly where those enemies are so that they can push them and fight them.
I always think that's the stronger choice, because quite honestly, if you're good at the game and you're good at reading zones and information, you just need to read where people are rotating. You can assume that some of them may have the ring beacon, and equally, if you're rocking, say, a Pathfinder or something like that, it's easy enough to be able to just read where the zone is going and not necessarily need the information. Personally, I think the recon beacon is just much, much better. And that's probably why Respawn toned down the XP that you got for it, for your Evo.
Let's go over there.
As Peen, they are looking to push up here. They have spotted where the Blood Wolves are.
Ultimate accelerant here. Energy ammo here.
Really seemingly not
Energy
too
ammo
worried
here.
about the team pushing up. And Finny there really has been caught out. Can Finn get back inside of the building and reunite with his team? Catalyst spikes are being thrown out.
Heads up. Check out this way.
Peen here are really hunting the Blood Wolf. The pack of the Blood Wolf being surrounded by Peen.
Hey, you know what? I'm so glad that 2-minute esports ducked out of that last one. They lost the body and went for it. They didn't necessarily live up to the name of 2 minutes. They're playing a longer game. But no, I don't believe it. Blood Wolves have blocked their own team from getting to safety. I don't believe it. That was such a poorly timed wall. However, I understand the panic that was probably going on there up against Teen, where probably didn't anticipate blocking the team off, but that is so unfortunate, because had the team been inside the building, you know what, it's probably at least half a decent fight to be able to knock Peen out. Unlucky to the Blood Wolves.
100%. In the meantime, we are going to be having 2-minute esports. That team that you mentioned, who are now going through the tunnel, and they're going to be coming up against none other than Gen X Manticore. Package Drill being expended. And Crack coming out. 2-minute esports here in a world of trouble. But
the EMP coming down. Great EMP. They've got to play off it now, but look at that. The reset. The EMP has done nothing because of that lifeline utility. Immediate pop of a cell. That is where Crypto is probably slightly weak right now in this season, where I think, quite honestly, it's become almost competitively unplayable in this meta, where it needs to be able to destroy some utility, I think, to be able to bring some of his spark back.
That's pretty much the only thing that you can impart and cover it. Not even the whole shield,
Yeah.
just a little bit of the cover. It's pretty pathetic, if we're being completely honest. It does make him rather useless when it comes to actually doing any considerable damage to the team, not just in terms of shield damage, but also damage to their abilities. And I think that it'd be interesting to see whether 2-minute are going to be able to actually do anything, like, or if they are going to dip.
To be honest, I'm so impressed with how they played that one. The thermite onto Manticore that forced them into that area and boxed them in. Again, that reset capability, having the lifeline Newcastle combination, they just didn't have the means to really knock anyone. But I think 2-minute actually played it really well. However, when you've got another team in the area shooting at you as well, It's just too difficult. Graffiti Gorillas are getting some great shots right now with that Sentient bullying them. That Craig's followed up, got his kill on Flojo, and yeah.
Graffiti Gorillas, actually a real heads-up play there from their Maggie and their lifeline. Genex and Manticore were about to come around and destroy them while they were looting. Actually, a heads-up play for the Graffiti Gorillas to instantly fall behind them, throw the lifeline ult, and are now managing to just get away from the Manticore. They don't want to smoke. They are making their way away, and they are having Peen up against 2 Girls 1 Gibby. 2 Girls 1 Gibby have been taken out by Merc. He self-described himself before this as the Bubble Fight Master, and has taken out the Gibby team.
I kind of give him a hats off for that, because that was a pretty clean fight. And you're up against Sonya, who's been a Gibby main for a long time, but Orbital trying to come in for that third party, but just maybe a little too slow with the third party, maybe a little too far away. Now they're Blues up against Perps, up against a very comfortable and consistent team. But can Orbital do it, Ben?
That is the question, and Orbital are actually just going to decide to back away. I think probably the right play. I think, as you mentioned, it was a little bit of a slow push. Orbital, if they'd have managed to get in there probably about 5 seconds quicker, it would have been a whole different story. But we're now seeing Peen go, you know what, you pushed us, we're going to push you now.
We're going to push back, yeah.
We've got triple purple, you've only got blues, and we are going to come for you right now.
100%. Kenzie needs to get that Phoenix off now and then start looking for their team. But they're in a really good spot now. They're in that tunnel. It's going to force them to be bottlenecked if team decide to push, and they are. But that's the confidence of playing with that additional Evo as well. The lifeline's going to be able to help heal them if they get in trouble. But it's going to be a messy little fight in this tunnel, because if you're not careful, you're going to have another team come in, and that's just what's about to happen. The Nappy Militants, even as a duo, are coming to get some of these kills.
Peen here with a really great use of the lifeline ult. They're bubble fighting around this ultimate. And that is the Nappy Militants now. The Gibby bubble does go out from Merc. Peen is backing away as Genex Orbital has got King Terry down. And down goes Sprite as well. The Genex Orbital are taken out by Peen. And now Peen are pushing into this loot vault. Down go the Nappy Militants, and Merc, currently with 7 kills to his name, 9 kills for Peen. They're going to be feeling themselves right now.
Great job, great job. And the fact that when I look at the zone right now and I see 1 player in the zone, just tells me all I need to know about how people are taking this lobby. They're not respecting each other. They're going for those big fights and not allowing that big end game. And again, that is that confidence of some of these teams. You've got the Old Men and Noctum right now in that kill feed, taking care of the Warwick Warriors right now. And the Old Men and Noctum, dare I say, playing with those 2 red Evos, they are one of the teams that really could put a stick in the spokes of Manticore in particular.
Just a quick note there, we're looking here at 2 Minute Esports who are going up that tunnel, that following the Peen destruction that is left in its wake with boxes everywhere. If I do look towards the chat in Twitch, and we do see ZNE, who are laughing at the fact that you said that they got steamrolled at the beginning.
I'm really sorry, guys, but it's true. You got steamrolled. The amount of nades when you were all on that tower, I just call it how I see it, and you got utterly steamrolled. However, I'm hopeful that come Storm Point, will you get that bounce back? Will you get that means to show that, hey, we're not going to let them do the same in another map? Because dare say, that comp does not do too well on Storm Point unless you've got that sort of street smarts and that capability and understanding of how that map works.
As we are seeing Peen, who recognised that 2 Minute Esports were there. Peen obviously with the triple red, going up against just Crypto. And has taken down the first. Nelasso with an incredible shot over the Mastiff.
That Gibby took a lot of damage there.
Oh
Ben, Bubble Fight Master, very nearly the student in that one there. But hey, fair play to them. They are quite a brutal team, and I see why they were one of your favourites going into tonight.
Old Men have knocked him now. In the meantime, going up against the fight and taking down FDR. This is a brutal battle, and we are seeing Old Men have knocked him, Manticore, and Peen. 3 of your top 4 teams still alive. with 6 squads remaining as only just ring 3 closed. This is a fighting back lobby that we are seeing.
It's crazy, and you know what? I'm just going to give a little shout out to Ratcam Zabob from the Abertay Alpacas right now. You know what? Silence is golden. It would not surprise me if this Caustic can throw their gas into some endgame and maybe do some damage even as a solo. 28 damage. You can rack that up, Zabob. I believe in you. Let them all fight it out. You can easily get a 2nd place in this one.
Well, a team that is definitely fighting it out is going to be the Old Men of Nocturne. It is just down to Zyno, who is ducking and diving and weaving and just out dying. That's all that they were going to be able to do. So many bullets raining down from Old Men of Nocturne, who are just going to be crafting up some more ammo because that's what they need. And they're going to keep on going with the fight as Keen are taking down more players.
They're taking down none other than the victors of the first few games in Manticore. And we said it just a few moments ago, they're one of the teams that could easily take the fight to these guys alongside the Old Men of Nocturne. And look at this. You've got Peen just resetting right in the open there as well. But Manticore are not allowing that to happen. They go for that full kill. Great thermite there as well on the Gibby. Manticore making a stand despite just being down to Niller.
Great shots from Nil.
Huge.
My gosh, Nilla taking down Nilasso, and it's just down to Nilla once again, who has got a Kraber. Keen eliminated from the lobby. Nilla tries to do everything they can to survive, but I do think that Old Men of Nocturne are indeed going to take them out, and a massive 19 kills currently for Old Men of Nocturne.
Come on, Zabob. You're still going. The rat is still going.
The rat
Can
is
the
alive.
rat come out with something special up against these red and purple Evos? Because you know what, Ben? This has been utter chaos. It's been anarchy. It's been masses and masses of fighting. Where can we see a special rat play?
As Albany Alpacas right now, we are seeing Zabdo with a charged up Sentinel. Looking down on the Old Men of Nocturne, and Albany Alpacas here. As a solo, as we mentioned, can still cause damage. The issue is 3 squads remaining in a lobby this size. He needed it to be about 3 times as small for that ult to actually cause any significant damage. But to his benefit, it is going to be pulling up towards them. The Old Men of Nocturne are looking for this final team.
I love this zone. I had this in ranked about a week ago, and you know what? The Abertay Alpacas are in the best spot, and he's just crafted them back. Get that respawn beacon down, hopefully, before any of the other teams can react to it. Charge Rifle has seen it. Could possibly try and zip up just to try and cause some grief right now. But I love it. I love the fact that Zabob has managed to get that reset. They may be weak. They may only be with blue, Evo, technically purple with the extra given the buff that the Control Legends get. But this really could turn into something special.
Old Men of Nocturne, obviously, with that triple red, are going to have the advantage. They do have the Graffiti Gorillas next to them. Graffiti Gorillas playing on the Maggie, and Graffiti Gorillas opting, they do not want to fight up against Old Men of Nocturne in this fight. They're going to look to try and have a little bit of a wrap around zone and going up onto the hill, which I do think is the right move.
For sure. And oh my god, the Abertay Alpacas, they have white Evo.
Oh
you
my
know for a
gosh.
fact that some of these other teams are just going to start to bully. Look at that. Graffiti Gorillas are wrapping wide, but Old Men of Nocturne are actually mirroring them to do the damage. I'm so hopeful that we'll see something special from the Alpacas, but they're being utterly bullied right now. I feel so sorry for them.
We are going to stick on board with the Alpacas, who have got the lifeline. They are going to be able to have some heals. They're going to have some revives. What are they going to be able to do is the question. Insectopedia has got a naked Sentinel, and a fight is going down on the other side of zone. Graffiti Gorillas.
Great shot. Great shot from the Caustic. You know, I'm so rooting for these guys because they're going to have a Sheila very soon. Obviously, they're going with the Caustical early. Devastatingly placed, but not doing the damage because the ult is still up.
That is just so unfortunate. I think they probably want to go inside of the lifeline ult. The Newcastle attack though comes out here from the Graffiti Gorillas.
I love it. Come on, Alpacas.
And Alpacas have got one. Zabot has taken down the Newcastle of the Graffiti Gorillas, and the Sheila is out and is singing. Zabdo managing to get the kill onto Lucas.
That is the best legend to take out early. Getting rid of Newcastle is going to be such a game changer. Yes, come on, man. Yes, the Sheila. The absolute underdogs. They had white evil going into this one, Ben, and they are absolutely making a statement. Come on, guys. You can do this.
That ult for Sheila is probably not going to come back. 30 seconds.
Yes, a second. Come on, guys.
Second place now. I think the hope
I
here for the other
don't see
team.
them winning it just purely based on the sort of health differential, but you know, stranger things have happened. I would love to see it. I love rooting for the underdog, but Old Men and Noctum are just so devastating this game right now.
They have got some Sheila bullets in the chamber. What can
Save it for when it
Rampart do?
matters. I would be pointing Sheila at that zip just in case they try and do something cocky. Insectopedia right now, just maybe not playing as much cover as they probably could have, but going for it, playing down with the Rampart. No, Luxor gets initial knock. Start charging that, Sheila, do some damage.
The Newcastle was low as well. Come on, Sheila! Come on, Sheila!
God.
Oh no, and it's just down to Zamo, and Old Men have knocked him. Oh, taking the win in game number 3, but what a game there. By that rat of Zabot, managing to clutch a second place for the Aberdeen Alpacas.
100%. And you know what? I'm so proud of them because taking care of that Newcastle was such the difference maker. And securing second place. And to be down but not out and still peeking and looking for damage and still just going for that massive play for the end game. They should be really proud of themselves because that wasn't an easy stand up against those Reds and Perps as well. But checking your chat there as well, the Royston just saying, who would have thought Predator Master squads are steamrolling the lobby? Well, Royston, one thing I learned, I used to be terrible at this game when I started, is no Predator and no Master is invincible. They get overconfident. You focus your comms and focus your fire, and you can take care of anyone regardless of their rank. Trust me.
As I am looking to try and update these stats so that we can actually get these ones fully in. Please, can this now work? Is the question. Will it work?
Have you got the new code? Because you're in the Convergent lobby, remember?
Oh gosh, no, I need the new stats code, don't I? Yep, that's why it's not working. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I've still got it. I've still got it.
You got it. You got it. You got it.
But hey, a massive game from the Old Men and Knockdown just while you're sorting that out. They had a 24 kill game. They were just playing everywhere. They were bullying people. And some of the other teams, like, say, Peen as well. Obviously, we do have some strong players in this lobby. And I mean it when I say Royston, and I wasn't even saying that facetiously or sarcastically. But sometimes all it takes is to focus far on that one cocky Master or Predator. And trust me, they'll start to tumble. And other teams just need to try and capitalize on those third parties, not being afraid to try and play out and take some of that space spend. Because if you see two teams fighting and you're close enough to do some damage yourself, just move up. Just move up and just show your dominance as well. Start to move in for that third party. But with that said, we're going to start moving out and get ready for Stormpoint, I believe, which is going to be quite an exciting one because the difference in how these lobbies can play out when you move over to Stormpoint can just be a world of difference. 100%. Breaking it down, the overall leaderboard, 65 points. The Old Men and Noctum now taking over Manticore, who had that double win to start. The kill count obviously creeping up there as well. We've still got it where it's still pretty close at the sort of middle of the board there, Ben. Nappy Militants and FTR with 23 points apiece. And then we start to go down 13 points and below. But I would really, really love to see it where Royston, Angry Squad, live up to your name, get angry, start to bully those people and start to knock them back. I believe in you. And you may be a console team, but that does not matter. Seriously, start to bully them, Royston. Start to show them that, hey, we've got some statements to make ourselves as the Angry Squad.
100%. And one thing I do want to note here, we are going to be moving over to Stormpoint. This is going to be a bit of a change of pace. Obviously, the map of World's Edge is one that really can, as we have just seen, get a little bit aggressive, get a little bit feisty. And as we move over, there is an opportunity for other teams to potentially climb up that leaderboard. Obviously, we're looking here at the overall Oddman of Noctum and Gen X Manticore, both solidly almost 20 points above Keen in third place.
Mhm.
Nappy Militants having a great day, actually, with the considering they've played as a duo twice now. So
Yeah.
brilliantly done so far by Nappy. It's going to be interesting to see what happens a little bit lower down the leaderboard. As I am now going to swap it over, and we're going to have a little look at the drop spots going into Storm Point. Is there anything that you can note looking at these drop spots?
Well, I mean, quite honestly, we were talking about the Angry Squad before with the console team. They're getting a lot of loot over in Barrow. They've got to be quick if they want to capitalize on taking it, particularly with the way the ALGS drop style works. We've got 2 girls, 1 Gibby over at Lightning Rod, which is a great POI to start from. Pending how you want to play this one, really, because even POIs like Cascades or Ceto Station, you can loot fast and you can go and you can already be rotating around such as a large map like Stormpoint quickly and efficiently. But we've got Peen over at Northpad, obviously the leaders overall for the tournament going into today at Northpad. You've got Manticore at Down Beast, a favourite of mine, and our main Convergent team land there more often than not for a reason as well. You've got some teams with some strong POIs, but you know what? I think the bravest call so far is 404 taking Mountain Lift when you've got opportunities like even Coastal Camp, which is pretty bad, but take Jurassic. But to opt for Mountain Lift is a brave call, man.
And then what I just want to quickly note, obviously, this little thing underneath me, I've put the teams which are just before today, how it was looking in terms of the overall standing. You can see 404. The reason that they've taken that less than good position is because they actually wanted to try and play from somewhere that they were unfamiliar with. They realistically know that they're not likely to get into the winners lobby. They currently are sat in 33rd place, but they're going to have to go through the losers bracket. They know that they're going to have a difficult time of it. And they've put themselves in a difficult position. You know what? Pressure makes diamonds, and that's what they're hoping for today.
100%. You're talking about the ones that aren't quite on the means of necessarily getting to finals out. The Graffiti Gorillas are on the bubble. They're landing at Mill. Mill is such a good POI that just go quickly. Like, mess up Beasts rotate. Make it so that you even force the fight early to push them up towards the Northpad side. Or better yet, just like make a beeline straight for Ceto. We've seen it on the drop spot. They're isolated. It could be an isolated 3v3 pending a zone pool down there. Like, if I'm the Gorillas, I'm going all out and I'm going for kills and saying, hey, we're going to get that 20th place spot and we're going to be the ones in the final lobby.
100%. And just before, as we're about to jump into this next lobby, I just do want to quickly just highlight how the other lobby is getting on. We are seeing Toaster Mister, a team which really did dominate their week number 1. They actually then proceeded to miss almost every other week, apart from this week, and they played week 1 and week 5, and they are currently sat pretty solidly inside of the top 20, which shows how dominant of a team they are going to be when it comes to that finals lobby.
100%.
Other teams that we're seeing, Zipline Destroyers, Red Cartel, having decent days as well. Both of them solidifying their place. And we are now going to have a quick look at the overall scores combined. Just so you can have a little bit of a look at how the two are comparing when it comes to the overalls.
Interesting. There's a lot of these Gen XI teams as well, actually. Orbital, Basilisk, Manticore. Loving the names, powerful names as well. But Costa Mista, I've definitely seen them playing in CCs and stuff like that. They're obviously having a good day in the other lobby as well. They must be having an absolute blast over there, casting over so many fresh teams and fresh names. I would love to see a situation where, I don't know, are you doing a mashup where you've got your finals lobby, or are you doing your like bottom like 21 to 40? Because it'd be great to see a balance of skill and see how that lobby plays out as well.
It's going to be a really interesting. We'll obviously be having sort of losers brackets, winners brackets after this. But we are going to jump into the game because game number 4 has started. We are on Storm Point, my personal favorite map, and we are potentially going to be seeing a little bit of fighting happening already.
Fair play. I mean, initial thoughts would be that we're probably pulling more over towards the mill side. If not up towards checkpoint. That would be my guess if I was IGL in this one right now. That it's pulling more towards the western side of the map. But we're already seeing Niller and Co moving down to mill, and this could be really, really dangerous for the Graffiti Gorillas because they're going to be without the cover and fighting the Prowlers as well. They might find themselves surprised, Ben.
See that lead here, taking down one, but I do want to know 404. They've opted to land at that awful location. Unfortunately for them, they split blue, and the player who was doing spiders did get caught out. So 404 are down to a duo. Clean and now pushing up to this team here, over by wall. Lasso going up.
And the Graffiti Gorillas just decided to get out of dodge from that other fight, which is just giving away mill whilst they are on that white Evo. So it's pretty much just going to be cutting to all that action over where you are, Ben. FDR currently shooting as well. ZNE and Co. So Alice, Faluvian and Newt are in a fight right now with FDR. So ZNE very unhappy with my comment before, Ben, about being steamrolled. Can they turn the tables and steamroll a different team?
There is a fight going down there, but there is also a fight with Blood as well. Blood are in a big fight down against the old ZNE. This is a lot of fighting happening early on. Particularly if you're playing an LGS. Teams are not able to defend. Teams look like they're aggressively losing as quickly as they can, trying to take a fight up against the closest team to them.
And ZNE just now clustering in that sort of waterfall, water area right now, but FDR moving up on the wide side. I feel so sorry for them because they're just being wrapped on by two teams right now. And that's the difficulty when you play in a lobby like this, Ben, where we've been talking about, where teams don't prioritize the rotate and playing from a strong position for endgame. They just think fighting on the outskirts, everyone playing edge, and you see it where the kill feed, like now, it's just going crazy because everyone's playing that way.
Oh my gosh, FDR, you have to say, is that probably the best Gibby ult we have seen in this whole tournament so far. Used to be done by FDR. They played that bubble late, waited until the opposition's bubble was about to disappear, threw that ult down, just absolutely eliminated two of those players. Alice is going to be running for the hills.
And I feel sorry for Alice because another team is starting to come down and look for it. It is Orbital, but they've all got their eyes looking south, so Alice manages to slip away into the Jurassic area and hopefully give ZNE another shot at glory. But so many fights breaking out over at Barrow, over at Sanoke Cave with Too Many Esports and Manticore as well. It's just utterly crazy for game number 4.
Genex Orbital here. Deciding to rotate away, potentially might even go bump into Alice, going this way, but we did see in the feed, Bloodball taken out by Orbit of Noctum. Keen, in the meantime, are in a fight up against Anti. And Anti do indeed get taken out. Keen with another big fight. This is some aggressive start, and those teams that we mentioned, again, Nilla now taking kills. That is Manticore getting kills in the feed. Off 4 big teams at the moment. Teams who are fighting for that first place really showing up.
This is playing more like pubs right now, to be honest, Ben, than competitive or even ranked. Angerfront right now are also up against the Nappy Militants over by that mill area right now, and it's looking as though they've got it for absolutely free because Angerfront actually have zone info, and these are the only 2 teams deep in green zone. Utterly crazy how no other teams have really capitalized on that information and thought about their position for an endgame.
Happy Militants, obviously the team currently sat in 4th place, and the only team in that top 4 who haven't got kills. They really want to take this fight and they want to win this fight. They need to keep up with those other 2 teams, and 2 go down, Schlapp eliminated. Pathfinder grappling up into their face, and down go Angerfront. Happy Militant eating Angerfront, as ZNE are also going to be going out. That solo of Alice, unfortunately taken out by FDR.
I think Newcastle just done a little cheeky teabag there while they were looting. But I have to say, with the Nappy militants, they may as well put their feet up. They may as well just boil the kettle, get a tea, get a coffee, chill out, because there's no danger in the immediate area. They are, alongside Graffiti Gorillas as a duo, are the only teams within zone right now. Everyone else is just fighting around the map. It's crazy.
Sensible right now for the old men of Noctum. Shots are coming out. Wish has been taken out, and I believe it's the Angry Squad on a Caustic. Nice shot there, 45 onto Gibby. Angry right now. They're feeling angry because Old Men of Nocturne have pushed in, and Angry Frazzle has managed to take out one. Can he take out two? PK. Not quite hitting, and unfortunately for the Angry Squad, Old Men of Nocturne were just too strong.
Just a little too strong and potentially outclassed with the difference in utility. The fact that the Pathfinder went down where Caustic wasn't able to really enact anything there. It was a great use of the ult from Royston to just try and block some of the entryways, but when they were so split like that, they just got kind of bullied by Noctum right now, who are just instead relaxing and hiding right now as Orbital come up and try and get some of that loot as well.
In the meantime, we did see 2 girls one Gibby taken out by Peen. Peen continuing to try and keep up with the likes of Old Men of Nocturne and Genex Transport.
I have to ask, Ben, 9 squads remain. Based on who's left, who do you think is going to take away the victory tonight?
Go this way.
It is, I mean, are we saying tonight or just this game alone?
Hey, for this game, let's start with this game.
Let's just start with this game. I mean, Old Men of Nocturne are fighting with real prowess right now. They're looking for Genex Orbital. Is that Kenzie that's getting... Yeah, so Kenzie is currently split from his team. Luckily for them, it is the Pathfinder, so Kenzie is going to be able to make his way back up. And it is going to need to because Nocturne have pushed up aggressively. Kenzie taking the roof. And a great grapple, actually. Some lovely shots there from Kenzie as Sentinel is taken out.
You know what? This has completely turned the battle in their favor right now. I think Nocturne really just did the overly aggressive. That
Kenzie.
Newcastle ultimate just wasted, I think, to be honest. But fair play.
It has indeed.
Fair
And
play
Kenzie
to
right
Orbital.
now playing beautifully on the Pathfinder. Is trying to hunt down this player. And Old Men of Nocturne are taken out, and it is not by Gen Z.
It was the Warwick Warriors who came in from the side right there.
Monsieur
Whether or not they
Grand
managed to get the initial kill, because there's multiple teams in this area, Ben.
Hostile over
They
there.
are indeed, and we are seeing Monsieur Grand Willie, who ironically is not on Team Peen, but is probably the best named player in this lobby.
Monsieur Glanville, yes. I love the name. I love the creativity from some of these players because, again, that's the beauty of casting over lobbies like this, Ben, is you see a lot of new names, a lot of new people, and it's always lovely to be able to give them a little bit of spotlight with a cast. But they're being walked up on, Ben, absolutely for free. Manticore 3-2-1 in that one, and Nilla with another kill to their account tonight.
A really good play, actually, by the Warwick Warriors, throwing that thermite in. They are going to try and take the jump pad back. And it is just down now to Rimu, who is realistically going to be jumped on. And down go the Gen X, the Warwick Warriors to the hands of Gen X Manticore.
It's kind of crazy how Manticore have the ability to reset in the zone like this because it is bizarrely still just round 2 closing with 7 squads remaining. And look how the teams are split right now as well. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Manticore just go for a wide rotate all the way by Armory where the Mythic bin is, and then they just completely reset and win the game. It just wouldn't surprise me because no one is in zone right now, Ben. No one.
That is actually insane. At the moment, I am going to be looking up to Nappy Militant and Peen, because they are team 1 and 4 going into today. They are fighting out of zone towards checkpoint. Nappy Militant have got the low ground, but they have got the building. So Peen really are having to come towards them in order to go into zone, unless they want to do a little bit of a wide wrap.
To be honest, if I was Nilasso, seeing that Gibby bubble come down, I'd be looking for an opportunity to get a zip down and try and find some better space. Because at this point, I think they've recognised Nappy Militants that there's no point fighting there when we're outside the zone. Let's actually take the building in the zone and lock down for the end game. I think it's a smart decision to just get out. And Peen just have to capitalise on this one now. whilst it's still an isolated 3v3. However, they won't necessarily know that, Ben, because you would assume that the zone is going to be really, really well occupied.
And here we are seeing Navigators who have obviously now moved away into zone. And I think you probably could say, first play a smart play, actually not somebody not wanting to take the fight and is opting to do something smart, move towards zone, and I think quite rightly they've actually got a great spot now in the mill. Moranz does take a bit of damage on the height, but we are seeing Nilla getting knocked, and Manticore are taken out by Gen X Orbital. It is a Gen X. How do you describe this? Battle of the...
I don't know, it's like infighting in the family or something. It's like cousins fighting against cousins right now, but Orbital taking the win. That's a huge statement considering how their cohorts and Manticore have been playing today.
Well, not only have they taken the win, they have taken the win, and they have got a hammer. Beautiful. I wonder who's going to be taking this.
Maximum level Newcastle's here.
It's going to be Kenzie, who I completely agree that is the right pick for him to play. He played so well in that fight up against the Old Men of Noctem, and Orbital, who currently, as we mentioned, sat in 19th place going into today, have just taken out Old Men of Noctem and Manticore, your second and third place team overall, and your first and second place team in the lobby today.
You know something, Ben? The Havoc is just one gun I've never been able to like master. Like it's like when I'm drunk and I'm at a urinal, just having a slash. Like my aim with the Havoc is like a drunk piss. It's just unbelievable. I don't know how people can control it so well, unless they're of course on MNK and do that jitter aim. But I haven't yet tried the care package version. Is it any good?
It is decent. It doesn't have the turbocharger, I believe. But it does a lot of damage, and particularly in the hands of players.
So Select Fire Receiver, which is from a time beyond me. I never actually played Apex back when the Select Fire Receiver existed, so hopefully I'll get to see a little bit of that kind of midi charge rifle style thing. But yeah, fair play. If you're brave enough to pick up a Havoc and do the damage, like any care package weapon, I think Orbital can really do something with this. There's only 5 squads left. They're clearly thinking about fighting. Look at this. They're just going for it. Send in the top rock. Fair play, Ben. Fair play to these guys. Great stick from Kenzie.
In the meantime, we are having Peen taking down multiple other people. This is a pretty intense battle that we are having in our hands. On the other side of zone is Peen. I've got 2 teams right here. They've got 404, and the Rampart is in play. What can Bandblogger do? He is spraying, he is praying. At the moment it is not working great for them. Hondi throws the Maggie Ball. It is just down to Stan the Blogger. And Dan Blogger goes down. Peen.
Devastating.
15
Absolutely
kills.
devastating.
As we are having now Gen X Orbital push it up against the Graffiti Gorillas. And Lucas has got a Kraber. I want to stay in the hands of Lucas here because I've got faith. I've got faith. How many shots is he hitting?
And you know what? I'm going to say he'll hit at least 2 before they realise that they've got Blue Evo and there's a revive happening. So I'm going to trust that he'll hit 2.
Gibby ult does go down. And a good grapple there by Lucas. Managing to take the height, avoid the Gibby ult. But really, I'm confused as to why it was thrown or who it was really thrown at.
I think it was more as a deterrent because of the revive coming in, but it slowed down the lasso.
Come on, Kraber. Oh my gosh, he could have hit it there. And Graffiti Gorillas here. Bit of a passive play, probably realizing that they're maybe not one of the better fighting teams in this lobby, opting to instead try and play for the zone, as Merc did take down Dan Juve.
I can't blame them for just trying to play the placement at this point, because when you've got a team with 3 red evos sending you, they've got a Havoc, they're clearly quite coordinated. There's no point just dying for it if you can still get some points and churn out some points for it. So a wise decision to get out of dodge and try and play some of the placement. Some of these teams are clearly just a bit more experienced than others, and I feel bad for some of the teams. We did see Royston in your chat earlier saying, "Oh, what can you do against Masters and Predators?" And hey, everyone has a chance to shine in a lobby when you're communicating well. But Lucas going down right now as well. It's looking good for Peen given the position, but you know what? FDR and Orbital are still in the game.
Genex Orbital inside, and as we were just mentioning there, it was a bit of a tough position, but what you said at the beginning, Orbital, the BC Gorillas currently stand, I believe, in 21st place or 22nd place. They are very close to that cutoff. And actually, they're currently in 4th place. They don't have any kills, but that is points that they need. If they're wanting to secure themselves into the winners bracket, that is a really good thing to do. Actually, that rat play might be huge for the Graffiti Gorillas. As Peen, I've got the heist of Mill, and I've got a great position to potentially win this game.
100%. Unfortunate amount of ring damage there, where the drone is just going to draw audio attention to other teams. But it may just be enough. It may be enough for them to get in. I'm going to be rooting for them. Craig, can you get those vital extra points? Going with a wide wrap on the left-hand side here, probably smart given how the middle is going to be watched. But hey, it's not looking good for the Gorillas. But I have faith. I have faith. Hide in these boxes, let other people fight, and then just hope for the best.
Might not be looking good for the Gorillas, but it is looking good for Peen. Merc with a Kraber has spotted the solo. And can Merc get the kill with the Kraber? Have they got any nades to throw in behind that is the question.
I don't think any of them have nades, which is kind of really lucky for Craig right now. But they're just going to send it. They're going to bubble and clear, which,
I think the great
shame really. Yeah, go for it, Craig. Get out of here.
in. And Craig taken out by Merc. The long-range Kraber. Kraber? Long-range Mastiff even.
And you know what? If Craig had actually hid by the first box there and played small, might have even gotten away with that, because I think Peen were so focused on what was around them. Great Sky Nade coming in there against Peen.
That is obviously Peen on this bit of high ground. I believe it's Orbital inside. It is indeed. Orbital, who've had a really great game as well. They have obviously got Kenzie with that Havoc and a gold flatline, which you can't be too mad about. But Peen sitting on this roof with a Kraber. Who is that team? Who is opposite? Is the question.
Well, you've got FDR, you've got Orbital, and you've got Peen all in this game right now. FDR have obviously had that game in World's Edge where they didn't have any kills but had the placement. Look at that, trying to emote to see where people are. You can't see him anymore, Romanoff. You can't see him anymore. That's been nerfed, my man. But they've got some kills this game, is where I was going to go with that one. So they may only have 3 kills, but that huge Kraber shot there from Merc to just take care of Freezy. Straight back up on their feet. Easy reset.
From the positionings that you're in, who is your vote to win here? Is Havoc from Kenzie there? A lovely little bit.
Honestly, I think Orbital, because Orbital. Oh my God, that was a 300 banger. On Earth.
Lifeline
Best
come
grenade
out.
I've seen in months.
And oh my gosh, a beautiful Newcastle ult as well to push Merc off. Merc does go down, but his ultimate is doing damage. Nelasso still up on height. Merc is not finished yet, which means that we are going to be seeing the President Alfonso lifeline red come out. Merc is eliminated. Nelasso drops down, is grappling onto FDR here. And we are going to be seeing FDR versus Orbital as this final fight. The Gibby bubble gets thrown down by Freezy.
The trouble is they've got no utility left at this point, so they're now dealing in the open. Had they saved some of that utility, I might have had a little bit of faith that they could do something with it.
Going out.
But can they clutch up?
They've got the Catalyst tool here. And FDR. Newcastle Rezzing is not going to save them, and FDR have got the chance to take the W. FDR are your champions of game number 4 on Storm Point. And we mentioned there was a lot of deaths early on. We thought that this lobby was going to potentially run out early, but it's gone to almost the final zone, and FDR holding it down from the low ground with the Catalyst, Gibby, and Newcastle. A great fight by FDR, and pretty great first game on Storm Point.
I mean, great end game in Storm Point. The early game has a lot to be desired. So much fighting where it didn't need to happen, to be honest, Ben. But I have to say, FDR just played the slow game there. I think if Orbital actually had some utility, they would have won it. I was not expecting the Newcastle to go up onto the roof after that initial grenade, because they should have been thinking about, hey, if we clear this, where do we play? And that's where the Newcastle wall could have been a difference maker. However, in terms of just getting some kills and playing out from there, I think they've done a great job. That is the best grenade I have seen in a long time. A 300 banger, just clearing everyone out, knocked some people off the roof. That was perfection, to be honest. It was almost like worms almost. You remember when grenades just land right next to you, and then you're like, oh well, I'm done now. It was like that. It was a worms grenade, that one, and I love it. So really well played from Orbital there. They had a big game. They managed to take care of their Manticore buddies. But I don't know. Give me your breakdown, Ben. What do you think of that game?
I've just got the overall standings here, but I'm actually going to quickly change this instead to game number 4, as we are going to just quickly see this update. There we go. Peen, although they came third in that game, they actually end up taking the overall most amount of points with 18 kills. That is going to be huge for them in the overall standings. There's Gen X Orbital, 11 kills, and that second place again. FDR managing to get 8. It was actually it was pretty top-heavy lobby in terms of the kills, as Peen and Gen X Orbital really do clean up a lot of that. The rest really share between FDR, Manticore, and Noctum. But again, an aggressive early lobby with a really interesting end zone and thoroughly enjoyable to watch.
100%. And I feel really sorry for the Aberdeen Alpacas because they are down their third. And of course, it was Zabob who wasn't available in that game. They were playing as a duo, but he's back. The Rat Master from World's Edge. Can they do it again as a duo in this one? And I really hope so. I'm kind of hoping and praying for Ben that we see some of those teams at the lower end of the board just suddenly jump up and have a big stand. We've seen some teams have some pretty well coordinated fights. They've just been beaten out by some of the util or missed a couple of key shotgun shots. But maybe we'll see one of them shine in one of the later games and start to slow down some of these sort of comfort teams like your Noctums, Manticores, Peens, who can put down the big boys tonight.
It's very true. But actually, just one thing I do want to note is I had a little bit of a message from Merc of Peen during the halftime break there we had, who said, I'm feeling a little bit worried that we're struggling here, that we have got not enough points to potentially hold on to their first place. That game alone has managed to keep them up with pace with Noctum and with Manticore. And if we go back to the overall standing of this whole lobby, we are seeing that actually Peen have got a 20-point lead, I believe it is, over Manticore right now. And if they're able to stay pace with them tonight, they will manage to secure that first place in groups overall.
2 games can be the world of difference, though, because those teams are going to know it. We've seen Manticore and Noctum being really aggressive and really active in a lot of their team fighting tonight, Ben. So they might just do it for the next 2 games. We haven't, and I don't mean to sound detrimental when I say this, but we haven't really seen much in the way of high-end competitive play here, where people are quite serious about the placement. They're definitely more serious about the kills and trying to rack up those points to go up the board. So I think we're going to see that theme continue. I think you might see or feel a difference when it comes to finals, given there's going to be prizes on the line, and without a doubt, egos as well. Like, if you're first in groups or in the top 5 in groups, you're going to want to be top 5 in finals. You're going to want to win finals. So I'm hoping that despite the fact that it's likely going to start to unfold to be more kill orientated, I'm hoping that we see some statement fights from teams, some upsets as well, because I'm all about the upsets. I'm all about the storylines. Who is going to take that first place spot?
We are going to be jumping over here to the legend selection. I am seeing the Aberdeen Alpacas moving over to an Octane. They are having fun this evening, as they are only a duo. And so it's great to see the Aberdeen Alpacas having a bit of fun, playing some different legends. As we are seeing actually 2 Minute Esports sticking with the crypto.
And 2 Girls 1 Gibby are 100% doing Legend Roulette right now, because Alter, Lifeline, and Vantage is a very unique comp, and one that could only really be mustered with Legend Roulette. But I know for a fact that they'll be a little upset with how the evening has gone, because they are a great fighting team. We've seen it in previous groups before. I hope I'm just not caster cursing them because they know that I'm looking, but wishing them good luck tonight, because they have got that hot zone all the way over at Lightning Rod. They're going to be utterly stacked with loot and in a great position to take the fight to some other unsuspecting teams.
We are going to jump in game now, and we are going to look at this map. Where would you like this zone to pull right now? Obviously, we've already had one that's gone over towards the mill side. Is there anywhere on this map that you like watching an end?
Personally, I quite like end games that do go up towards Lightning Rod or the northern side of the map here. Like in at the trenches over at North Pad, those often end up in some good end games. But Pylon recently has been one that I've really enjoyed because you start to see a lot of people kind of grouping together in there. But as we can see, it's going to be pulling up towards the north, probably over by Ferrari and maybe even North Pad with this one. But they always make up for good end games if people are playing for the end game, like getting those buildings locked down, getting the armory, the trenches. It has the capacity to potentially have a good tool. And yeah, there you have it. I'm looking at your screen right now, and you just brought it up. So we're going to have that Ferrari game as well. So potential for a big end game, Ben. But I don't know, what are your favourite end zones on this map?
People always mention the trenches over by North Pad. If it does end up pulling towards there, they can be quite good fun. But I'm personally someone who likes end game where lots of teams are able to coexist. We haven't quite seen that this evening, but we had an incredible game last. It was over by Stormcatcher. We had, I think it was about. I think we had going into the round 4 or round 5 closing.
Yeah.
There was 25 players still remaining across 11 teams, 12 teams, going into round 5, and it was actually insane to watch. An incredible ending. It was one that Nappy Militants ended up coming away with. Nappy Militants obviously a team that are needing to pick up the pace a little bit in order to try and keep up with the teams at the top. And also just to try and cling on to that 4th place. They're a team which are the most winningest team in this tournament so far. Show that here this evening.
Yeah, and it could just be pressure, but it could also be an element of that RNG, of course. And I tell you what, you were talking about a lot of the verticality and differences that, like, say, a big end game for Stormcatcher. It's a great place for it. A zone I have not seen in such a long time, anything by Cenote Cave, because all the different caves, the buildings, the height on the rocks, end games there, absolute chaos and really, really good fun to watch and cast over. So let's hope for some of the best possible end games for the remainder of tonight, and of course for the finals of the Caledonia Esports event run. It's been really, really good fun to be here with you tonight, Ben. I'm very grateful for the invite, and I'm really excited about some of the new names that I've been saying and how they play. I think that it's just indicative that there's some really good players out there, some great Apex players, and I hope to see how that unfolds in things like CC. But we have a fight breaking out over at Jurassic. ZNE have found an unsuspecting 404 member in Ponde, all on their own right now. They're going to get a kill, and that's exactly what ZNE need after a quiet outing in World's Edge.
I mean, the fact that when I press nearest enemy, it isn't even a member of the 404 team shows just how split they are. It's gone all the way to the Graffiti Gorillas, who are over by Barometer. So the 404 team obviously landing at that rather suspect landing location in the middle of the map, and they're playing their own game. Let's say that.
For sure. And interestingly, King Terry the Terrible from Orbital has gone down to FDR. We've got a little fight over in the no-name area just to the northwest of Launchpad. We've got a lot of teams clustering around that north pad. And even at Barrow, I don't know why it's so congested on the south. If teams have that information, they should be moving and they should be looking to try and fight at least from the green zone. But hey, it's not how today's going to unfold. We're going to see a lot of kills happening.
Keen looking to get aggressive, as they always do. And it is going to be Yukon who are inside of this building. Charge Sentinel in the hands of Peen right now. As Yukon, Majestic, looking to try and do some majestic shots with this wingman. Playing Horizon, a legend that we really haven't seen in a meta for quite a long time. That comes out after an accidental fall. That could be detrimental to the health of Yukon right now.
You know what? A Horizon in lobbies like this can be really, really helpful if and only if you time that ult and suck them out of the area of any walls and such like. But we're going to see Two Girls One Gibby just roaming around collecting evil, but we've got a real sort of collection of teams: Blood Wolves, Orbital, Two Girls One Gibby over at Stormcatcher, just currently trying to play it safe a little.
Yukon are eliminated by Peen. Unfortunate there for Yukon, after that team did get aggressive. But as you mentioned, there are quite a few clusters of teams. We're seeing, obviously, that Stormcatcher cluster, and there's also one happening at Pylon right now. The SDR, BC Gorillas, looking to potentially get a little bit of a fight.
For sure, and I'm loving the fact I'm going to keep an eye on Two Girls One Gibby right now, because Misa has just managed to clock the fact that the Blood Wolves are stuck in the stairs by Stormcatcher. It's not a good place to be unless, of course, it is an endgame situation where you know you can lock down those places. But the Blood Wolves are under pressure right now. Two Girls One Gibby moving in to do something. We've got Piku with a devotion in a Mastiff. Like, this is a confidence gun right there.
It is indeed, but a good arc throw and a good frag grenade actually coming out of the Blood Wolves. Incredible shot onto Piku. Shoulder on the Gibraltar, doing some absolute bit. But a great thermite nade actually coming out from Two Girls One Gibby may well even take down some of the Blood Wolves.
Wow.
As Paddy does go down, Finn is going to have to do a Newcastle revive.
That was actually a really, really good use of Alter's ultimate and getting out of dodge there. They've completely reset and they're ready to re-engage. Misa right now, a little low on health, but can get that drone off in a few key seconds. But who heard the fight? It was none other than the old men and Octum. Two Girls One Gibby. I've got to be so careful here, Ben.
Two Girls One Gibby, actually, don't know if they realise it, but they do. They have spotted the last remaining player. The Newcastle does go down. The Blood Wolves are eliminated from this lobby. The old men have knocked them. Deciding that they don't want to fight this, they're going to go try and take the height. And as we do see 404 go down to none other than Gen X Manticore.
Yeah, this moment in time. And this is really clever from the old men and Octum. They've put a Moby down to maybe try and bait Two Girls One Gibby out into the open there. Really smart. But if Two Girls One Gibby are smart, I would not even be zipping up right now. I would be simply rotating by spiders and looking at those shots from old men and Octum. They're going to have to push off this, and they're going to try and close out Two Girls One Gibby.
Whilst we were talking about that, we did see on my screen there Peen taking down the Nappy Militant. And Peen really keeping pace here with the old men of Octum and Manticore, both of who have got kills and are looking for more right now as Two Girls One Gibby. Piku does get taken out by charge. Sonjor on the vantage. Echo is thrown out. The jump goes out. Sonjor looks like might be able to get away.
Oh, wow.
That does not happen as Luxor takes down Son. And it's just down to Misa, who is taken out by Sentinel. A killer piece there for the old men of Nocturne. We are down to 10 squads remaining.
I'm really surprised at the decision making to try and get back up to Stormcatcher there. I think in all honesty, given how that zone pulled and the fact that they had height, maybe they were baited by that respawn beacon, which was a kind of ingenious play in some respects. But I think Two Girls One Gibby would have been much smarter just ducking out on the south side and going by spiders. They could have been backing cascades in that general area right now to start making a press up north. But a lot of teams still fighting outside of the zone or likely to meet each other right now, Ben.
They are indeed. We're looking here at the Abattoir Alpacas, the duo, both of them on grey shields as the Octane lifeline. And unfortunately for them, Peen, realising that wall is not the place to rotate through, opted to go through zone, and unfortunately forced out the Abattoir Alpacas, who were just on the edge of the zone. Luckily for the Alpacas, OBK has managed to make his way out and did manage to survive, so there is still a chance for the Alpacas.
Yeah, and I just had eyes on the Graffiti Gorillas, and it's so OP that Lifeline can have Doc follow her up an evac tower. That's absolutely incredible. But Ben, I'm gonna have to hand over to you because I've had a crash. My Apex has decided to just close on me.
Oh my gosh. Well, oh my gosh. Sorry, I definitely do not also have the Liverpool versus Real Madrid game going on my phone right now, and I'm definitely not completely distracted by that. As Anti are fighting against Peen. Anti taken down to just a solo. What can Zyno do? Dino is looking for a kill. The Catalyst Tacticals passive coming out, blocking off those doors, and some great shot here from Zyno. No, don't open the door! And actually the downed player throwing that for Anti. An absolute heartbreaking moment there.
I'm just watching through the feed that you've got coming through to me, and I'm actually devastated for them right now. But we're seeing so much people, like, so many people clustering at wall right now. It's so dangerous. Zone 3 about to close. It's such a dangerous spot to be in, and this is the point where anyone that's aspiring to play competitive just need to get used to the idea of finding a space where you don't have to be worrying too much about the rotate, and you can bully people who make those mistakes.
Absolutely, we are seeing the Graffiti Gorillas right now. Obviously on this edge of zone, they've got Gen X Orbital, who've obviously just taken out the duo of the Abbasi Alpacas. Currently back in zone and holding them out. It's going to be a tough rotate for the Graffiti Gorillas. And after this, trying to go through walls is also going to be we do see
and I'm kicking my gas, I'm back in the game.
Back in the game, amazing. Gen X Orbital actually moving up the wall. They are going to look to try and take that strong spot in this position.
Yeah, Graffiti Gorillas, I think have just wasted a little bit too much time outside of the zone. Unless they have an evac or something, I just don't see them getting out of this one with the 20 seconds left. If they had that evac, maybe. Or they could Maggie Ball and hope that the boost of speed gives them a chance to get in. I'm kind of rooting for them because it's a bit of a unique rotate. They've recognized the danger of cutting through that area. Maggie, it's all down to you. You've got to get an angle for people to be able to run. It's not looking good. So unfortunately, I think the Graffiti Gorillas are going to be done. Come on, Dan.
Graffiti Gorillas might well be done, but Gen X Orbital are in a massive fight inside of wall against Keen. King Terry the Terrible on the lifeline, holding down one of the walls. Old Men of Nocturne were also inside this building. This is a potential massive fight going down inside of wall.
Oh my god. Graffiti Gorillas got it. The zone is so slow in the north. Maggie nearly died for it, but they managed to do it. Lucas is so split from them. This could be the sandwich of the century, Ben, if they can manage to regroup and get back into that fight together.
They may well, but I'm looking here at Gen X Orbital. We're trying to hold out the Old Men of Nocturne, I believe. Old Men of Nocturne pushing in with the Eva Ray, a gun that has been singing this evening. Sentinel takes a huge amount of damage on the lifeline. What can his teammates do? A charge. Rupture goes down. Pathfinder of Kenzie also going out. It's just down to charge. And charge rifle right now.
That's it.
The last player. And I have to say, Gen X Orbital did an incredible job right there of holding off Nocturne. They all went down so low in their health, but managing to hold off what has been such a dominant team in this lobby. Brilliantly done, and Charge Rifle is going to have an almost impossible rotate to try and get into zone right now. As we are seeing that incredible rotate by Graffiti Gorillas, giving them a spot in zone.
The Charge Rifle, no! The zone got you, man! No!
That is so tough.
That is gutting, but interestingly though, like we were talking about it being a brave rotate, Graffiti Gorillas now have the northern side of the rocks for a hard pull north of Ferrari. I don't think I've seen a zone pull to this exact spot myself, but this is insane how they've managed to take control of this spot. They just have ZNE, who, it's amazing to see them all on Red Evo. They've only got one kill, but they are maybe shining in Stormpoint after a rough outing in World's Edge, Ben.
They are shining, but another team that is still continuing to shine is Keen, who have pushed up now onto Gen X Orbital inside of this building. Merc looking to try and take down now the last player is the lifeline, and down go Gen X Orbital. Keen are putting the pedal to the metal. Is that the right phrase? But they are absolutely taking this lobby apart. 5 squads remaining, and it's great to see ZNE is triple red in zone. And to make things even better, talking about the Reds, they are massive. Liverpool are 1-0 up against Real Madrid. Thank you very much, Liverpool.
Well, I'm not a football kind of guy. I'm actually more American football. But ZNE are making their push, and I have to say they were so disciplined in the way that they were holding space. Alice was looking south, whereas Falavin and Newt were looking over to this western side. And great Maggie Ball going to stun them into the open.
Beautiful.
Can they get the kill?
Present Garbonzo actually managing to take some of those kills away. And a lifeline ult for a lifeline ult. As it does look like this could well be Peen pushing up onto them. Those shots going down. And yes, that is indeed Merc on the bubble fighting. Can Pavilion do anything? But with that Havoc, it is not enough. It's just down to Alice. And Alice has got height.
Got a really good spot considering, but there's just so much exposure on the other teams. But you know what? I'm kind of gutted. If Newt had just recognized the fact that Gibby was starting to push up for a bubble fight, just drill your own lifeline ult, and that would have deterred them from being able to push in and allowed them to peek out. But it was a really good fight nonetheless. They were holding some good space in the northern side. But hey, Manticore, FDR, Graffiti Gorillas as the lone Pathfinder who got out of trouble there, and Peen.
President Garbonzo has got this Havoc, has seen that grapple, and Nelasso and Garbonzo are going to look for this fight. Nelasso swinging around this corner, looking for that solo Pathfinder. Opting to go with the Sentinel, just for probably a little bit of show purposes.
And poor Lucas, man. Poor Lucas.
Lucas, I mean, all credit to Lucas, surviving as long as they have. And down he goes.
Lucas, I'm going to start calling you Snake Hips because that was some severe movement right there to stay alive. I can't believe you managed to last as long as you did, but fair play. The final three, Ben, who do you think is going to take it? Do you think it's going to be Peen, Manticore, or FDR?
I have to say, Peen here have probably got the best spot in zone. It's going to be so tough, and Manticore, realistically, you're going to have to try and play for second up against FDR.
Agreed.
FDR actually, though, with the Catalyst ball, that is going to play into their favour. They have got the opportunity to maybe make their way in. Obviously, a Gibby ult has been extended by Peen.
Manticore need to take this rock now. They need to try and capitalize on the fact that this fight is happening. They see a solo Pathfinder. This is huge. Manticore are now in a great position. If they can press this lone Pathfinder on the top rocks, this could be enough to take it back to Peen. Look at them climbing up these rocks, Ben. This could be a change in the battle, a sway in Manticore's favor. Can Peen survive?
Well, Peen have lost Merc. He said that he was the king of Bubble Fight, ends up losing one, and that has put his team at the detriment of now having to have a 1 versus 3. Nilla Apex continuing his streak of lifeline devastation, taking down Nelasso, and Manticore now have got what should be a fairly routine 3v1.
And you know something, Ben, the FDR team again have utilized that Catalyst Veil and put it against them. They should have veiled off against Peen in the north and fought Manticore on the south and tried to create that isolated 3v3 to allow them to get second place, but instead they ended up in third because they just walled the wrong way. They focused on the wrong team, and it's a real shame for them, but Manticore seen it and they just capitalized and took the strong spot. So Niller, I'm going to assume it's Niller who's the IGL for that team, because Niller was the first one to recognize that, the first one to just start zipping in and take that space. So really, really great awareness and recognizing how to use enemy utility in your favor as well.
Another big and important win there for Manticore, because with 8 kills, it's big. It isn't what Peen did though. As Peen, I am about to update and I'm about to swap this over because my gosh, what they just did in that lobby. Give me 2 seconds to add this game. That has now been added, and we are going to go here. Get ready for this now. Everybody,
It's going to be a big one.
It's a big one. Game 5. Peen with a 27 kill game. They took out over half the lobby there.
I think that practically almost secures them as taking first place in groups now, because a statement game like that, not only are you taking out a sizable amount of the lobby, But you're walking away with a good placement point set as well with the 9-point placement. So being arguably in a really, really good spot. But I have to say though, Ben, like we went into today's games with, was it Nappy Militants had 6 wins. Like Manticore alone have got 3 wins tonight. Like they're playing a really, really solid game, and arguably hot on the heels of Peen. Can they do the same and have a massive kill game alongside the placement to try and cause that upset? They're going to need to just turn up the heat right now to try and do it. But equally, I want to give a shout out to the teams at the bottom, because there's nothing more demoralizing than looking at the scores and thinking, oh, a team like this shouldn't be in our lobbies and stuff. But that is just sometimes the way it goes when you're in a mix-up group stage, where some teams just do happen to shine because their play style just can butcher and frustrate teams that play a bit more passively as well. So I'm really rooting for some of the people lower on the board to see what they can do in this one.
You can see here on the overall leaderboard, Peen now with a 10-point lead over Manticore. That is going to give them a 30-point, I believe, lead overall. So unless Peen get a 0-point game and Manticore are able to basically replicate what Peen just did, realistically, we are seeing Peen take the W in groups overall, which is going to give them a, oh my gosh, sorry, Real Madrid was given a penalty. That is ridiculous. I cannot believe that is not a penalty. That is awful. Sorry, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the game. But no, we are seeing obviously here the overall groups. I do want to actually look at the combined scoreboard very quickly, just to see how the other teams are doing. Toaster Mister with an 149 point. That is, I think that's after 5 games as well. That is absolutely massive. And you can see for Toaster Mister, that's actually going to be putting them into the 300-point territory. That is going to be putting them probably into the top 5. Looking at the other teams around them, a dangerous team to be looking at as we go into the winners bracket. Other teams,
and that is the discomfort of having multiple lobbies, because the teams in this lobby aren't going to be looking at that. They're not going to be worried about it. So maybe there's an upset potential from some of the other teams in the lobbies as well. It's looking good for Peen, but nevertheless, I actually want to give a little shout out though. They might not have had a 27 kill game, but ZNE actually played that particularly well in terms of their rotate and their placement. So for a team that struggled a little bit on World's Edge, I really do think that they deserve a little shout out with how they played out of Cascades as well. So ZNE, maybe we'll see some really good utilization of Maggie in some of these bubble and shield fights. Definitely a team with potential, where learning some of that utility and recognizing how to turn a push in your favor when you're on the defensive side. I could see ZNE having a couple of good statement games in future.
Absolutely, yes, we are going to jump on board with 2 girls from Gibby, who are playing.
Oh no, they're down to a duo?
They are down to a duo, it looks like. Unfortunately, I'm just going to check and see if there is any messages in the meantime. I can't seem to get it just yet, but yeah, it looks like 2 girls from Gibby down to a duo for this game, unfortunately. But we are potentially going to pull over towards Stormcatcher. I take that back completely the wrong way. It's gone the other way. It's gone Cascade Falls.
Fair. Well, 2 girls on Gibby have already rotated out of Lightning Rod and into Zeus, so they're hoping to try and catch Ante by surprise as that duo. They're pushing in. I'm going to keep a close eye on it, just because I am going to be incredibly biased, because I've got a lot of love for the team there. It's really unfortunate that they are missing Misa, but PQ bringing out Mirage is clearly just for my benefit. As a Mirage sympathizer. So great opening
shot there. And even better than that was Kelleher's save against that penalty. Liverpool staying 1-0 up. Everybody, I'm sure, is extremely happy to hear that.
I don't know any of those people because I just simply don't follow the game, my friend. But I'm sure if you're happy, it's obviously a good sign, given the football.
The keeper saved the penalty. I'm very happy. We stay 1-0 up. You love to see it. And can Piku now, they're obviously 1 player down. Let's see if they can make this level, get this to a 2-2, and we can go from there as Angry Squad are taken out by 2-Minute Esports. An important fight for the bottom of the lobby standing.
You need to get that ult off. Start to confuse people. You get it back so quick on Mirage that you may as well just Skynade right now. Skynade, try and cause some damage. A very carefully placed bubble could be a difference maker here from Sonya. But I'm sure there are some other big fights breaking out. There's a lot of people clustering over at the mountain lift area as well, if you want to try and get some eyes on that one, Ben.
Absolutely. Mounted Mirage is doing good stuff. We are seeing a couple of things. Boolean is taken
Leveled
down,
up.
tilted
His
down.
upgrade hunter level
We
there.
are seeing Genex Orbital coming down from the top of the hill. Lovely shots there by King Terry the Terrible. Again, some beautiful names here as the Boolean has taken down another. And the Blogger goes down and gets stuck, unfortunately, for his troubles. Hondi eliminated by Kenzie. And Sprite goes down. That is for Newcastle. And it's for Boolean. ZNE, we already mentioned them. Can they do anything with this Maggie bubble? The unfortunate no-reg going out of view. And just unfortunate ZNE there. A couple of no-regs with the Mastiff does mean that Genex Orbital are taking the win as Romanov is now taking fight. FDR up against Yukon. It is a 2v1. The Horizon up against the Gibby and the Cassidy.
Oh, and we're seeing the kill feed. Piku is down. Sonya probably going to be closely followed as well. Two girls on Gibby as a duo eliminated. They're going to be happy that they can go get some rest because it is getting incredibly late for them over in Finland. But it was nice to see ZNE getting a couple of those kills in that fight before, Ben. Obviously that aggression starts to be dialed up a little bit, but bizarrely there's just so many people in the mountain lift area. I'm not really sure where this one's pulling. I'd maybe guess Cascade, but I just really don't know at this point. I'm almost tempted to cycle through and see who has information. Oh wow, it's going north of Cascade into that open space.
But one thing that you can be sure to know is that Peen are going to look for a fight, and they are going to rotate to wherever a fight might happen. Right now, that is exactly where two girls can get started. They have actually seen an Octane jump pad, I believe, actually coming out of Anti. Obviously, Alpacas even.
The Abertay Alpacas, yeah, Bob is using Octane, and you know what, I respect it. After that statement game in World's Edge, to go from rat to hero and securing that second place, I love when people play off meta, Ben. I think it really showcases a person's skill when they can adapt to a meta and just refuse to play it. And it's always been my thing in gaming since long before Apex, where I would always use the guns in COD that no one else would, and I'd do the same in Apex, using legends fewer people use, and so on and so forth. But we're seeing another big fight breaking out from the Zeus side. The Gibby ult is down, the Abertay Alpacas are just looking at it from above, and it is none other than Peen that are now between two teams, so in a tight spot right now.
They are between two teams, but they have recognised that they have to push one, otherwise they are just going to die in a sandwich. They want to try and push the team on height, assuming that the idea behind that is that if they can take this team out on height, at least they'll be able to look down on the team coming up behind them. But unfortunately, for Peen, the Gibby bubble has got a hole in the bottom of it. And down goes Burke, down goes Pressing Bonzo, and Nelasso is surely very soon to fall. Nelasso. Nades are being
They
thrown
have
out.
got to be nail biting right now, to be honest, Ben, because I'm sure even after a strong game like that, going out in 14th place is not the position that they would want to be in, being bullied by both Anti and the Abertay Alpacas. But Anti now ducking out, recognising it's not worth fighting up in the zone. We've got some kills. We took down the absolute powerhouses off the lobby. Let's try and play a game for the end game now. Fair play to them.
I do want to know, just to show how teams like to play, they landed at North. They have died over towards Zeus Station. Really aggressive push by Peen, trying to basically play on that edge, play on the sort of zone side, to try and take out more points. This time it has not worked. That is sort of the do or die.
Level 2.
That type of play style.
Yeah, and it goes to say that that's what we said earlier this evening, that no Predator or Master players are invincible. They make mistakes too. You cannot be perfect in a game that is fundamentally driven by RNG. And Piku, yeah, we see Piku in your chat there, Ben. It was for me to play Mirage. I appreciate you, man. I know it won't be the result that you were wanting, Piku, but hey, move on into the finals and just brush up on that. It'll probably play more like competitive come the finals. But yeah, I think Peen were just overconfident there because they know they can play aggressive in a lobby like that, Ben, that it just backfired. You can't do it all the time. You will get surprised.
Absolutely. As we are seeing Nappy Militant currently in the center of the zone that is going to continue to pull up towards above Cascade Falls. And they are going to be having Snake Hips himself, Lucas, coming up on top of the building and looking to hit this beacon.
Target over there.
Two teams around.
You got
one,
Orbital shooting from afar.
the
From
one,
the northwestern, northeastern side, sorry.
one in the northeast, one in the southwest. Graffiti Gorillas currently in the middle of this building, and there is a caustic gas. Just a random barrel just placed around.
Fair. And yeah, we're starting to count down on this final game, and I have to say, Ben, it's been a long time since I casted, and damn, does the time fly. I forgot how quickly it flies when you're talking about Apex and watching these games unfold. I have missed it, and it's been an absolute pleasure to be casting alongside you. Absolutely, in my eyes, one of the best up-and-coming casters in the space, and I really do hope that you continue to do what you're doing with these styles of events. So hopefully, we'll do a lot more in future, inclusive of the finals in less than a month's time, about 3 weeks' time.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm looking here at Agroproid, who has just been absolutely blasted by Alex and Nappy Militant. They're getting this res off, but the Nappy Militants are just going to push up onto this. They are throwing nades into the Gibby bubble. Agroproid managed to take down one, but the Nappy Militants just too strong. Likewise, Mo Salah also too strong. Liverpool getting a penalty. And the Nappy Militants now in a big battle inside of this snake building. Alex, top of the battery. The great shot there with the Mastiff. And down go the 2-minute Esports.
Wow.
Beautiful shots
That
there from Alex.
So good. I tell you what, I really respect what Nero managed to achieve there on the Maggie. That was a devastating Maggie ball. Well placed drills. It was just unfortunate that the Militants were spread the way that they were, or that could have been even more devastating. No, was that teabag? Is that Newcastle teabagging as they loot?
It might have
I mean, you're in a building, my man. Slow down. Slow down.
Oh no.
Enemy over there.
Salah missed penalty. Very sad there, but Liverpool are still winning, and the Nappy Militants are going to look to continue winning in these fights. So Gibby Bubble does go down for Alex. The really good Gibby ult is doing so much damage to this team on top. They've only got a lifeline in Newcastle. They don't have any protection from the height, hence why that Gibby ult is a great idea. Genex Manticore right now. Managing to take down around. Vanilla is down to just the Newcastle when Manticore are eliminated. That is solidified Peen as the winners of this lobby, as the Nappy Militant looking to have a final hurrah, game number 6, in order to try and push themselves up. But they do have the Blood Wolves. Oh wait, not say the Blood Wolves pushing up. Blood Wolves a little bit further away.
Alex on the Nappy Militants there, Ben. Like, what were they on? Those massive shots did not miss a shot. Was just absolutely aggressive. That was an incredible play from the Gibby, from Nappy Militants. Really well played.
It was indeed. You'll never guess who is just finding Kraber. It is Charge Rifle from the Old Man of Noctem. He is going to be very happy with that.
Target spotted.
You know, I've been really surprised at how the Old Men of Noctem, it feels like they've been really quiet compared to World's Edge, but the reality is they actually haven't been that quiet. They've still been making noise, doing some damage. Maybe not so much in this game, but to have a Kraber and 2 Red Evils right now, they've got to be feeling confident enough to just do one final push and start to rack up some points and maybe a win on this final game.
Luster there. Been the one to opt to take the Kraber. They also do have a red bin. 2 for 2 misses on that Kraber. People standing still. Not ideal
Hello,
there by Luster.
motherfucker.
opted to give them a haircut rather than a headshot, to be honest. Just a little bit often.
Oh,
Needed to aim a
Luxor.
little higher. That could have been devastating.
Over there.
Luxor right now. There is another Kraber coming down? I believe so. There is going to be 2 Krabers in action, and there's a red bin as well, which means there is a chance of another Kraber coming.
I think they need to do it for the content, try and get double Kraber on the go. I had a game the other day where I went double wingman, and most days I'm terrible with a wingman, but it ended up being my best game of the night, a big win. So sometimes you just got to do it for the content. Do it for the casters, Luxor. Get both of those Krabers and just start to go ham with them.
But still sitting on the height. Nobody is. They still haven't moved over. I'm surprised that neither of them have really gone to open up that bin near them. As we are seeing Marams taking down people. Yukon in a battle up against the Nappy Millicent. So the Nappy Millicent coming out once again. I think that's Alex now with 7 kills. A really great showing here. And that's obviously the most winningest team so far in the tournament. This is their chance to win once more, and complete themselves to 7 wins overall in this tournament.
We're attacking here.
I don't know what it is. It is like clockwork. It's on the Nappy Militants. We see the Newcastle teabagging as they loot every single time. It is just like clockwork. So obviously just either ingrained in the muscle memory or it's preset, but not trying to call you out for something that might be innocent quite there, but a little teabag on every single loot. But the Nappy Militants are looking pretty clear right now, spread out, trying to clear their back, but maybe overconfident as well. They're swinging as a duo on the Cannon team right now, Ben.
They are indeed. That is the Blood Pool team, which again was looking for a good game, a good day today. Actually, brilliantly done there by the Blood Pool so far. Managed to not go down. A lot of ordnance has been thrown. As the Blood Balls are going to take the cannon. A bold play, and Paddy goes down for it. They're landing onto the heads of somebody else, and Blood Wolves have thrown themselves into the zone. Finny boy.
That's just like throwing meat into a lion's den there, just cannoning at this point of the game, but a brave call. And needless to say, like going back to some of those teams like Graffiti Gorillas or ZNE who've been using Maggie. Imagine if you had that Maggie utility on that team that were near the cannon. The lockdown bubble. Drills could have been utterly devastating, and that's where I'm loving to see some of the Maggie picks come out tonight.
100%. It's Gen X Orbital. Inside of Cascade Falls, can hear some shots going down. Frag grenades are being thrown in. Gen X Orbital are looking at the Warwick Warriors. Again, a team that we've mentioned. If they have a good day today, there's a chance for them to get into winners bracket. But they need to capitalize on what is a decent position in zone. But Battle Splash takes quite a lot of damage from those nades.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's at a point where, given how the zone is pooling and how well spread things are, it is really just going to be careful utility usage that sees people win right now. The Nappy Militants are going to get another 3 kills for free with how the Graffiti Gorillas just zipped in on that one. It was a brave call. Perhaps it would have been safer to zip somewhere on the north and then to play down. Zipping onto a team like that with that sort of support utility, it's just so dangerous, Ben, and I think people are still adjusting to this meta.
And the Warwick Warriors are now going to be getting pushed by the Old Men of Noctum. Warwick Warriors are really going to have to try and do their rule to hold off as Old Men of Noctum are taking down Gen X Orbital. Manticore obviously already down, and a great nade there from Charge Rifle, taking down Kenzie. And that shows what the vulnerability of that Lifeline ultimate is. It's got a big hole in the roof.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Another thing that's got a hole in it is Real Madrid's defense has 2-0 to Liverpool, everybody. Ben's having a great evening.
He's absolutely loving his football pattern. I wish I could join him with it. All I know is Apex right now and American football, but we're not going to talk about that right now. But yeah, Orbital have managed to get that reset despite the pressure they were getting from the Old Men in Noctum. But Warwick Warriors are still in this one, Ben, and a team that we haven't heard too much from tonight as well. Anti are still in this game, and they're not in a terrible spot. They're actually in an okay position where they can slow play and then work into what remains of the zone, hopefully bully some people beforehand. So Anti could be a strange contender for an upset right now if they can hold off the Nappy Militants and the Militants get bullied from some of these other teams.
I want to stay here on board here of the Warwick Warriors, just because they're a team that we've not really seen a huge amount from. Newcastle ult does go down to try and block off that door. Reses are going out inside of this building. The Warwick Warriors are surviving as Kenzie goes down to Old Men of Noctum. And a great swing out here. The Warwick Warriors getting damage. The Havoc coming out here. And the Gen X orbital go down. King Terry.
Unbelievable caustic ult.
As Exe from Nappy Militants manages to take down Zip Avanti with a Kraber. Warwick Warriors are still a full 3. And they're fighting here against the Old Men of Noctum. And Charge Rifle goes down.
Monsieur Grand Willie is absolutely swinging what remains of his right now, but too exposed and in the open right now. The caustic gas and the caustic ultimate was absolutely devastating, but he goes down for it. He should have waited for that Newcastle wall to try and make a play. The Warwick Warriors right now, Ben, they're being decimated in the open.
So unfortunate. The Warwick Warriors managed to take down one, but it's the Nappy Militants who, after such a great string of fights, finish off game number 6 with a brilliant win up against the Old Men of Noctum. And I have to say, a really great evening of Apex that we have managed to watch this evening.
100%. We've definitely seen some strong teams and some strong plays. I think some of these teams are going to get a surprise if the caliber of players that we've seen tonight are entering into the finals, and it's a mashup of the best teams from both sets of groups. I really do think that there's going to be a surprise come finals, because some of these teams are not going to be able to run it down like they've been trying to do tonight. They're going to get a real shock, because they're going to find people who are like, what's this guy doing, and punish those overconfident potential mistakes. But Nappy Militants with a huge victory in that one, Ben. They needed it, I think, to try and make a statement for the overall number of wins tonight. Are they going to be on par with was it Orbital? Manticore, sorry, Manticore, who've had a number of wins today, or are they going to walk away with the most wins across the group stages?
Well, we're going to have a quick look here at the overall scoreboards for this lobby. We are going to move this across, and we are going to see that it is none other than Peen that have taken top spot, but the Old Men of Noctum, with that second place, managed to sneak in and take second place away from Manticore. However, when it goes to the overall scores, obviously I'm just going to have to, it's all been done on a spreadsheet, so I'm not going to be able to show you that right now on stream, with them having exactly the same amount of kills. It is going to come down to, I believe, Manticore and Old Men of Noctum finish on exactly the same amount of points.
Oh, wow.
They were both on 299. Gen X Manticore were before tonight on 4 wins. The Old Men of Noctum were on 3 wins. This is going to go down to a tiebreaker.
Incredible. I think just based on tonight, with Old Men and Noctum getting more kills, they might still edge it based on the kill decider. But incredible. And out of nowhere after that game, the Nappy Militants just leapfrogged up into 5th place as well. FDR, maybe fewer kills, but certainly more consistent on their placement. But looking at the Graffiti Gorillas, they only had 3 kills, but 26 points. That's another team that maybe with some more confidence in terms of how they play, utilizing that Maggie, they could easily start to rack up more kills over other games. Their placement and their macro is obviously fine. It's just tweaking that micro to be more devastating.
100%. I think it's something which they'll obviously be looking to do going into the next round, whether that's in the losers bracket or in the winners bracket. But we've obviously mentioned quite a lot of the teams at the top, and there's quite a few standout teams. And I'd be interested to hear who your potential MVP is of tonight, as we do look over here at the stats. I'm going to change that from score instead to kills and damage dealt.
Okay. Well, my personal MVP, I have to say, I think Niller has been outstanding from Manticore. You could see, I would guess, if I was a betting man, I would put my money that Niller is the IGL for that team, because It always seemed as though Niller was creating those openings on the lifeline, which is a strange one to be creating openings on anyway. But in this meta, it doesn't matter so much using lifeline in that capacity. But it felt like Niller was IGLing and making those calls, recognizing those openings, and managed to lead the team to 3 victories overall, which is really quite something. But if I was to talk about some of the underdogs, and I know we didn't see much of them in some of the earlier games on World's Edge, but ZNE, you could see and sense that they were trying to make some good position and openings, as well as some of the other teams on the lower side of the board where they're consistent with their placement. So there's definitely some potential people in this lobby in particular that could develop into being more confident, competitive players. And maybe it's just a bad night as well, you know? Like, we had people, 2-Minute Esports were running crypto and stuff tonight, and do they need to make some adjustments based on the meta or not? But I think in terms of, if I was to call an underdog sort of, I don't know, underdog MVP, it would probably have been what we've seen in that last game there just now with the Gibby on Alex, with the Nappy militants. Like, some of the plays there and the focus and shotgun play was really, really good as well. But a lot of great players in there. Sometimes it just doesn't work out on the night. Take 2 girls on Gibby. One of our teams are very confident in them. They've had a huge 100-point banger in the previous group stage. It just didn't click tonight. So, yeah, I think everyone should be really proud of themselves, especially when you can understand some of the skill disparity. You're up against Preds and Masters, and we've seen some of the frustration in your chat with that as well. But yeah, I think overall we had some great ones. But my absolute underdog MVP had to be the rat play from World's Edge, Ben. Zabob coming out, lone caustic, and then managing to get the team back to play for second. I love to see it. That was probably one of my favourite plays of the night from the underdogs.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And you can see there on that thing, you had to say, Merc, he stuck to his word. He said, I'm the MVP of bubble fighting. And he took the top kill leader today with 28 kills. So congratulations to Peen, who are going to be taking not only the dub on today, but the dub of the group stages as well, which means we are going to be moving now towards the winners bracket and the losers bracket, which will be announced a little bit later once I've gone through and done all the spreadsheets and updating. But it will also come with
Hello,
our first
motherfucker.
ever proper draft system, where people are going to be able to actually take it in turns, and it will be done on their placement in group.
Yeah. And you know what, Ben? I would love to actually get a lot of these teams that were kind of middle of the pack together and like even just fund a prize pot for those teams, because I would love to see how they cope with playing against people of their like own skill level. I think we'd really start to see and separate the people that can maybe develop into being competitive players over the course of time. Like, some of these teams are clearly quite confident and running it down. But you know what? I would love to see what happens if you remove them. So quite honestly, I think the losers bracket per se could be its own winners bracket, because you'll start to see some of those teams that maybe are more mediocre to upper skill level rather than let's run it down because we can skill level. So I think we've seen some really, really good mixes and matches of players tonight. And I think some of these community teams and console teams should be celebrating. You know, it's not easy to go up against people that clearly play the game every day, you know?
100%. And you look at the likes of some of the teams that are in here. Keen, Oldman of Noctum, obviously Toaster Mister in the other lobby. These are players which have gone far in Challenger Circuit. They've made it to finals. They've got to the semis.
Yeah.
I think a member of the Peen team this weekend made it to their first ever semi-final in the BLGS.
Fair play.
They came 11th
Fair play.
with 100 acre wood, and you can see that a lot of these teams.
That's the team I recognize them from. Okay, right.
Yeah,
I'm with you now. Yeah.
So Nelasso
Amazing.
there, obviously the Pathfinder, he's joined the Peen team for this tournament, and after
The Peen team.
the Peen team, absolutely.
Amazing.
And it's I think it's been a really great showing by some of these dominant teams, but also a really great showing by some of those teams slightly lower down. And I think everybody should be super proud of themselves with how they've done. Because I think everybody had their moment at least one time over this group stage.
I'm just going to put it out there as well, Ben, that if you've seen some real standout teams that you would like to see like mixed in and matched for maybe the equivalent of the losers bracket here. Let's reach out to them. I would love to put them in a little gauntlet to see how it would unfold, because I feel like some of the creativity and the attempted plays just didn't quite work because they were up against some bully teams. But some of what I've seen tonight has been really quite inspiring. And you know it's good when you've been talking about Apex for 2.5 hours, when you kind of want to go and play after as well. So a hats off to everyone for giving me a great time, and to yourself. It's been a pleasure to cast alongside you. I know we've done it once before. We certainly need to do it more. But keep doing what you're doing, man. It's always a pleasure to cast with you.
Absolutely, and I look forward to hopefully more events coming out of Convergent, but also Convergent joining along for the finals. More will be announced
I'm looking forward to
later
it.
down the line, but it's going to be great to see. Obviously, I've been doing a lot of the switching and everything this evening. Hopefully, come finals, we'll have a little bit more of a professional production. But I hope that everybody in chat tonight has enjoyed the show, has enjoyed some really high quality Apex, and we'll be back next week for the losers.
Take care.
Mason, see you soon.